Here in Mobile, Alabama, thousands have gathered for the 55th Annual Senior Bowl. An assemblage of some of college football's greatest amateurs gathered for one last time before they pass through the door to the next level, the National Football League. For over a half-century, the best of the best and the greatest names in college and pro football have showcased their skills here at the Senior Bowl. Legendary greats and Hall of Famers have participated, as well as recent stars with bright futures, like Pennington, Tomlinson, Carr, and Palmer. Today's All-Stars look to add their names to the legacy that is the Senior Bowl.
40-yard strike, Phillip Rivers, touchdown, Wolfpack!
Lamar, a quick one-step, touchdown, Michigan! Handoff to Julius, at the 5, end zone touchdown.
Off his right side, Greg Jones is back as he knocks him down.
Michael Jenkins is going to take it to the house.
On an overcast day in Mobile, Alabama, it's Lad Peoples Stadium. The 20th anniversary of college football on ESPN continues as we bring you the 55th Annual Senior Bowl, the North versus the South. Hi, everybody. Mark Malone along with Sean Salisbury and Craig James. Glad you could be with us, guys. The last couple of years, we've seen the first overall draft pick play in this game, David Carr, and, of course, Carson Palmer. We don't have Eli Manning here, but that doesn't mean we don't have some real talent at the quarterback position.
You're not kidding, Mark. And Phillip Rivers and J.P. Lossman. Being the third one ain't bad because that's still a lot of money and a lot of opportunity with Phillip Rivers, big, strong kid from North Carolina State. You want to find out what this guy is in big games, 4 times in bowl games in his career, MVP. He can play it, watch his release point. Some question if his ball's released high enough. On the other side, it's J.P. Lossman. He is from Tulane. These guys are both on the same squad. And what's interesting about this kid, Mark, improved the entire week, Craig. Big arm, athletic skills. Some think down the road he's the best of the group that's here. But we also got to talk a little bit of defense.
Well, I'm glad you two quarterbacks kind of let this defensive game happen out there. Teddy Lehman for Oklahoma this year had an outstanding season on the field. This week during practice, Lehman's tried to show some skills that would get him from a third-round pick maybe to a second-round pick. Maybe didn't have a great practice week. This game here itself is what's going to showcase for him. He has tremendous talent. He plays well on game day, and this is one of those ball games he's going to use to showcase.
And you know they love the guys that can run. Lehman can run.
They do. A lot of players are looking to up their stock at the NFL draft, and who knows more about that than Mel Kiper Jr. Mel?
Mark, I'll tell you what, you're right. And I'll tell you, on the offensive side, nobody helped themselves, I believe, more than Michael Jenkins, wide receiver, Ohio State. 160 career receptions, 17.5-yard average, had a great week of practice, caught everything thrown his way, a precise route runner. I think he went from a late first to maybe even a mid-first, depending upon how he runs at the combine workout. On the defensive side, defensive tackle Darnell Dockett from Florida State. Unblockable at times this week in practice, had a great Thursday session when everybody was holding Dockett. He had to have a generic jersey at the end of practice. They were holding him so much. Dockett, I believe now, Mark, goes from maybe a third to an early to mid-second round draft choice.
All right, Mel, certainly here at the Senior Bowl, one of the things we do is not only bring you the game, but take you down to the field to hear the players.
Nice and loosened up, Jay. It'll be a nice day for you.
Far right, Q line Copper on 101. Ready?
Make a statement, right? Make a statement today. Make a statement. Let's go, bro. Let's go.
Let's go, QBs. Big game. Big game. Big game. Big game. Big game. Big game. Let's go.
And, of course, we have more people down on the sideline. Let's send it down to Merrill Hodge. Merrill?
Hey, Mark, I'm here with Bowling Green's Josh Harris, the quarterback. Josh, you've had an opportunity to play in the NFL system all week, practice in it. Now you have an opportunity to play in the game. What would you like to show the NFL coaches in the game today?
I think that the main thing that myself and my teammates would like to show the coaches is that we can make good decisions and play mistake-free football. I think, you know, in mistake-free football, you know, anything can happen and you're playing fundamentally sound.
All right. Josh, thanks a lot. Good luck to you. Let's go over to the other side with Rob Stone, who's playing with, we're going to have with one of the guys who's smaller in this game today. Rob?
Yeah, who says size doesn't matter? Look, hold on a second. I got to get up here, Mr. Stark. 6'7", 360, the biggest guy here, offensive lineman from Florida. Obviously, you have size in your favor. One of the things that the NFL guys have been telling you need to work on this week.
Well, just one of the things is being consistent and just constantly being physical is one of the key things you want to push as an offensive lineman. And this week we tried to do that, just being physical in every play that we do.
Hey guys, who says wingspan doesn't matter, right? Let's get out. We got out the ruler here. Spread it out, spread it out, spread it out. We got 7 feet 3, guys.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. The play is underway as Julius Jones is taking the ball 2 yards deep in the end zone, and he's down at about the 17-yard line, and that's where the North will take over. Gus Scott making the tackle, and there is your starting quarterback today for the North. Hey. Mr. John Navarre, all Big Ten, #1 Michigan quarterback ever to pass for over 3,000 yards.
Hey, Mark, you talk about that Big Mac Starks guy. He's an M&M away from 400. Who are they kidding?
You'll see the rosters and all of the players at the bottom of your screen. Rotate through. Keep an eye on that. First down and 10. Play action pass. Navarre outside to Colbert. The wide receiver from USC catches it, but it's out of bounds. And it'll be second down and 10 as we take a look now at some of the other players on the roster. Chris Wilson, the tight end, along with Chris Cooley, who's had a great week here as tight end. And you can see some of the offensive linemen. Sean Boobin, a huge guy from Illinois, guys. He is 6'7" and 300 pounds.
Can you play the game? And I think that's what everybody's watching for in this game here at all week in practice.
They're looking for athleticism on the offensive line, too, guys.
Navarre hands the ball off to Jones, who gets it out to about the 21-yard line. Pickup of 3 yards on the play as we take a look now at some of the defensive players on the field today. Dave Ball obviously led college football in sacks this year for UCLA. Rodney Leslie, a teammate of his. Nathaniel Adibi from Virginia Tech, a guy that's got great range. And Chad Lavalle, who has done a great job here this week from LSU, should show up in this game along with Darnell Dockett.
Dominated in the game, in the Sugar Bowl, Mark, dominated on the practice field all week. And talking to that squad, they said that he should control along with Dockett inside.
Yeah, and the word consistency for all these players.
That's exactly right.
So third down and 7. Navarre, plenty of time, finds Jenkins. The big wide receiver out of Ohio State can't hold on. Michael Jenkins, 6'4", 213 pounds. Got a hand on it, but that's going to force a punt now. Kyle Larson from Nebraska will do the punting for the North squad. And Nathan Vasher from Texas is back deep for the South at the 37-yard line. Larson, nice spiraling kick. Vasher from the 34. And he is hauled down immediately, a loss of about 2 yards on a great punt of 46.
Good job, guys.
Chris Cooley, the tight end there, as you see Marty Schottenheimer, who is here coaching for the 4th time in the Senior Bowl, guys.
So a lot of times also played in this game, Mark, and I promise you with Marty being wired, we'll be hearing a lot today because Marty will get him going. And there's Marvin Lewis. What a great job he did with the Cincinnati Bengals and turning that franchise, not just the team, franchise around. There's a different attitude in Cincinnati.
And how lucky are these defensive players to have a chance to hear from Marvin Lewis and coaching him those points.
So you might want to listen, huh, on that one.
South comes out now in a one-back set. The fullback, Brandon Johnson, in the game. And they come out throwing immediately to Ben Watson, the Georgia tight end, who takes the first reception from Philip Rivers. Again, this guy here has put together an enormous career, over 13,000 career passing yards, second in NCAA history. And as you take a look at the running backs too, Cedric Cobbs will be in this game along with Greg Jones. Shot Williams has had a good camp, a little undersized but certainly quick. It's a pickup of 6. It'll be second down and 4. A hitch outside, Ernest Wilford, Virginia Tech, and Wilford knocked out of bounds at around the 46-yard line by Derek Strait. A pickup of 8 yards on the play. Take a look at the lineups again. Wilford making the catch. Justin Jenkins from Mississippi State is here. Jericho Kocheri, who was the go-to guy for Philip Rivers, also here. Ben Watson, the opening catch in this game for the South.
How big is he? Is there a better body, Craig, than that guy right there?
We were standing there on the field watching him practice and warming up, and his hands, he's got good soft hands to go with that big strong body.
Full-grown man right there.
He certainly is.
You don't think he's had any M&Ms on his starts back?
First and 10. Play action. Rivers rolls right. Nobody there, sticks his head down and gets it out to about the 50-yard line. A pickup of 4 on the play before Brian Hickman, the linebacker out of Kansas State, is there for the stop.
And that's what you call managing the game, right? First down and 10, and doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah, you know what? It's okay to throw it out of bounds or to do that. The thing that I want to see, and I'm sure the coach is doing and talking to them, Craig and Mark, you know this, be decisive. If you're going to drop back and throw it, and you see the coverage, drop back and throw it. And Philip Rivers did a nice job there, getting out of the pocket. Obviously not the most fleet of foot, but does enough to put them in now second manageable.
Finished the year completing 72% of his passes, guys.
Have a look at that season, guys.
34 touchdowns. Comes right out and goes back to Wilford again on the little hit screen. Wilford dodges Derrick straight at the line of scrimmage and then picks up 7 yards before Teddy Lehman, the Oklahoma linebacker, is there on the stop.
Yeah, we talked about Philip Rivers in the open. This him there. You talk. The thing that impressed me most, guys, is the bottom right there. 4-0 in bowl games, an MVP in all of them. Impressive career, well coached, and it's going to show because out of all the guys here, if you had to start a rookie in Game 5, he's probably the most advanced.
And I'm going to say this. Matter of fact, Eli Manning's not here, but even if he were here, I would say that Rivers might be further along because of his passing.
4-year starter. Yep.
I like him. I think there's nothing wrong with Philip Rivers.
We'll continue to watch Rivers throughout the day. We'll talk about his release, which is a concern to some, as Sean Williams gets the ball out of the eye and stopped for no gain. And now we'll look at some of the defensive lineups at the bottom of the screen. Travis LeBoy, the WAC Defensive Player of the Year out of Hawaii, got great speed along with teammate Isaac Sopawanga.
Say that 3 times fast for me, Mark.
One's enough, thank you.
It'd be a sopapilla about the 3rd time I said it.
Grant Wiley, West Virginia linebacker, had a great week this week. As the South now comes out in a 3 wide receiver look. Rivers throws the ball outside to Williams. Behind him, Williams almost makes a circus catch, but it'll be incomplete, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
That wasn't a very good throw there. You know, those are those we said the first down a while ago. He took off running, was decisive. He's got to lead that. That has to be an automatic throw.
That's one of those that they want to see. The simple things that you're supposed to do the simple things. It's like when you play a team you're supposed to beat them. When a guy's open in the flat, hit him. And the other side of that, they're used to watching LaDainian Tomlinson come out of the backfield as the San Diego Chargers coaching staff. Reach back and catch that ball. Make your quarterback look good when things aren't well.
Chargers staff also said it's amazing being around tall quarterbacks. We didn't know they grew them that big.
There's some big quarterbacks here at this Senior Bowl. 3rd down and 10. Play action to Moore. Rivers out of the pocket and then overthrows Henderson. Sean Phillips, the defensive end, out of Purdue, there to put pressure on Phillips.
You know why I'm okay.
Rivers,
you know I'm okay with that, guys. And punting's all right. You know, I try to make that point. You'll hear coaches say it. Sure, you'd like to hit that ball. Sure, you'd like to get it down. But don't take a sack and get us bad field position. We'll punt. We'll rely on our defense. We'll tee it up, and you'll have another series coming out.
But and it is okay for a guy like Rivers because he is highly thought of. But for some guys out here, they have to make a play.
Well, we saw Navarre had 2 open throws and miss him in his first series. Got to make those throws, trying to impress these guys.
Donnie Jones out of LSU doing the punting. Ricardo Coakley, the fair catch way 4, and that'll be a touchback, and they'll bring it back out to the 20-yard line, a 43-yard punt. We're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Mel's top 5 quarterbacks, how they line up for this upcoming NFL draft. Back in Mobile, Alabama, the 55th annual Senior Bowl, a scoreless first quarter thus far with 11:01 remaining as Josh Harris from Bowling Green now in at quarterback for the North squad. Hands the ball off to Julius Jones out of Notre Dame, who picks up maybe a yard on the play as we check in with Mel Kiper Jr. Mel?
Mark, I think when you look at the quarterbacks, a lot of the top guys are here in Mobile this week, and certainly 2 that aren't, Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger at the top of the board in terms of the quarterbacks. Manning and Roethlisberger vying for that top spot, which the San Diego Chargers have that pick. Marty Schottenheimer coaching here doesn't see Manning or Roethlisberger in this game. Roethlisberger Jr. can't come. Manning decided not to. J.P. Losman, a quarterback at Tulane, struggled because of the offensive line, but hung in there through 33 touchdown passes. Then Rivers and Matt Schaub, who had a nice week down here in Mobile.
All right, Mel, as we watch Josh Harris slip in his drop and then just throw the ball forward to Jones, but it's going to be an incomplete pass.
Hey, Mel, with J.P. Lossman, got his brains beat out this year, but kept managing to come back. The scouts and coaches love that, to see a guy how he plays when he's not being protected or taken care of.
John, you're right. I think arm strength-wise, the way he snaps it off from the year, you got to like J.P. Lossman. As I said, if there was any struggles, it was because the offensive line didn't protect J.P. And, of course, the wide receivers, they didn't have a big timer there. But Welby Moore had a broken hand, missed some action. So, overall, it was a lack of support, yet he still threw 33 touchdown passes, only was intercepted 14 times.
Harris drops back, and a miscommunication between he and Kerry Colbert. And that is going to bring up a 4th down and 9.
Yeah, one of the coaches on their staff was saying how they felt Lossman, that he would go out there and he was really always trying to show you how big his arm was. And so, you know, I want to see him today in this game, if he'll have the touch and if he'll throw the softball rather than just trying to muscle.
And Craig, you make a great point, because all those coaches to a man, they know what kind of arm he's got. Show us the other things that they don't know he has, because he could be that 3rd quarterback take.
And I disagree with Mel on that. I'd have Rivers above him anyway.
Kyle Larson averaging 45 yards a punt during his senior year. A deep spiraling kick to Nathan Vasher from the 35. Vasher dropped for about a 1-yard gain after 44 yards on the punt. Devery Henderson, the wide receiver, is there on the stop. We're still scoreless here. We've got 10 minutes to play in the first. Stay with us here in Mobile, Alabama.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Senior Bowl. Brought to you by Right Guard. Get the power strike from Right Guard. Right Guard, right to the end of the day. And by Acura. Experience the performance today at your local Acura dealer.
The culmination of a week's worth of hard work here in Mobile, Alabama, the 55th annual Senior Bowl. The North and the South scoreless with 10 minutes remaining here in the first quarter as Phillip Rivers is back in at quarterback. And they hand the ball off and surge it forward for about 5 yards on the play. Just a reminder, while you're watching the 2004 Senior Bowl, you can log on to ESPN.com for in-game analysis from draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. You can ask questions to scouts, incorporated talent evaluator Todd McShay, ESPN.com senior writer Ivan Mizell. We're going to have a special guest, and that'll be the quarterback from Miami of Ohio, Ben Roethlisberger.
Big, strong fella, too. Whew.
Big Ben, they call it.
Yep, guys, a couple rules, too, now. Catching the ball here, they only have to get 1 foot in bounds. And if they're down without being touched, it's like the college rules. So some of the rules to look for, they're not playing quite NFL all the way around yet.
3 wide receivers on 2nd and 5. Rivers comes out, throws a bullet to Justin Jenkins, who is hit, drops the ball. That's Ricardo Coakley. And what a weekend he has had here. He's from Tusculum College. Where's that at, by the way, Craig?
In Tusculum?
In Tusculum?
I don't know, but I know this. I know a guy who's got a data bank down there named Kiper that would do it. Look at the job, though. A 3-step, get rid of the football, and it's on the money.
Good throw, unable to catch it, is Justin Jenkins. And Coakley, again, 5'11", 186 pounds, had 11 interceptions this year. He's got 15 career interceptions.
And this is a great time for him, too, this week at a small school to show the coaches you can play against big-time competitors. And he's done that.
3rd and 5, throws it out to Devery Henderson, who gets it out to about the 47-yard line. It's going to be enough for a 1st down. Demario Williams and Derek Strait are there to make the stop after a 14-yard pickup.
We talk about the release of Phillip Rivers, who's getting the ball out quickly. And Marty Schottenheimer, the coach, said he reminds him of Drew Bledsoe. And watch where he's at here with the throw it. It's about a between three-quarter and half release, guys. But you know what? We've all seen this. Very rarely, Mark, you and I are tall, is you throw over the top outstretched arms. You're throwing through seams. Bernie Kosar was successful. We've seen Bledsoe be successful. Craig, I think he can too.
And if my eyes aren't deceiving me, he just completed that pass to a very speedy, talented receiver
against good players. That's exactly right.
Rivers to Henderson inside the 30-yard line. Again, a 1st down. They're picking on Derek Strait, the corner from Oklahoma, pickup of 18.
I don't give a hoot if he throws underhand if he could throw it like that. Ball's coming out on time. Anticipation, Craig.
Yeah, just look where he is in the pocket, the awareness. He's not looking immediately where he's going with it. He stayed with his eyes down the middle of the field. His free safety had to stay right there, which opened up the skinny post.
There's a reason why the ball's on the money from him. He's completed 67% of his balls in his career. That's pretty darn good.
And Devery Henderson, James Lofton, receivers coach with the Chargers, saying, hey, this dude here is the #1.
Flat out run, too.
Look at this is what he did in the Tangerine Bowl against Kansas. 475 yards, 5 touchdowns. By the way, those are bowl records. Rivers, the pump fake and go, looking for Kotchery, and just overthrown as the coverage was good. Derek Strait was there stride for stride.
Derek Strait plays physical down there at the Sugar Bowl. Craig, you and I were down there for Oklahoma. In on a lot of tackles for a guy who plays corner. Reminds me a little bit, although he's not as stout as Antoine Winfield when he was at Ohio State. He's not afraid of contact, which is good. And you saw him play great bump and run coverage there with the receiver.
And the benefit of playing for a guy like Bob Stoops is that you're taught to play aggressive. You don't get to that program unless you're an aggressive player, which the NFL guys are looking for.
That's exactly right. Guy who can come up and challenge you right away, Mark.
Strait all Big 12, the Thorpe and the Gursky winner. College football's best defensive back. As Rivers goes back to work and throws again to Henderson, who makes a great move. Leaves Strait in the dust, and he's finally forced out of bounds at around the 10-yard line. A pickup of 17.
Well, we talk about the physical nature of Strait, but I will tell you this. Speed kills. And we saw Henderson with the great move, started by the accuracy of the Phillip Rivers pass and how you take a physical player out of the play. Derek Strait, you get the ball to a guy in open space and speed and let a guy like Henderson work, Craig.
And you know what? He gets rid of the football, but then look at the burst. I mean, the ability for him, and that's a great player that he's over there, you know? I mean, there's some athleticism there to go along with the talent of the hands and the speed.
Kid practiced well, Henderson, all week long, and obviously played on a pretty good team, the co-national champion. Well, excuse me, the national champion.
Oh, you USC guys, I'll tell you what. Henderson, 3 catches for 46 yards early in the first quarter. The ball intended for the tight end Ronnie Gent out of Louisville and overthrown by Rivers. Well, 2 of the top teams in the Big East meet tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Number 16 Syracuse will face number 9 Pittsburgh. The Panthers lost their first game of the season, you might remember, Monday night against the Huskies. NCAA basketball on ESPN2. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com.
Tell him.
Tell him what?
I will tell you that Cedric Cobbs from Arkansas is in the game, and he gets the handoff off the eye, and he's inside to about the 8-yard line, a pickup of 5. Stuart Schwagert, the free safety for Purdue, is there to make the stop.
Cedric Cobbs, you know, you're looking here for running backs who can see what's in front of them. And when they take off, look at where the blocking is. Look, there's an angle on the outside. There's one over on this side as well. And Cobbs' eyes are up there, and then he kind of closed them off there at the end. But those offensive linemen are getting some push.
Yeah, they are. And the word you heard this week, they weren't an extremely athletic group as a whole, but there was a couple parts to it. And this is the way you show a coach you're more athletic when you're playing against a pretty good defensive line.
Cobbs now the single back in the formation as Rivers forced out of the pocket and finds some time. Finds Cobbs up inside. Close to a touchdown. They say yes, he's in. The South gets on the board first. Cedric Cobbs, who scored 10 touchdowns this season, has 26 on his career, is in the end zone first for the South squad.
Craig and Mark, if I'm judging a quarterback, there's 6 or 8 times in a game when you've got to find a way to get something done, either throw it out of bounds or make a play. Here's what I love. Right here, going to get right in the middle, make the nice throw, keeping his eyes and head up the field instead of waiting for something to happen. He delivers.
Brent Smith good with the extra points. As we take another look at this first touchdown scored by the South. Rivers buying time and finding Cobbs. They lead 7-0. Welcome back to the Senior Bowl. Cedric Cobbs gets the South on the scoreboard first to make it 7-0. Capped a 9-play, 64-yard drive. Ate up 3 minutes and 15 seconds. As the North now will get another shot. Coakley takes it at the 4-yard line. Whistles it up in there and hit at the 21-yard line.
Here's Cedric Cobbs. You know, you're talking about finishing and making plays. He has the good fake up in the middle of the field. Now, instead of staying out here where he's covered up, what does he do? He takes back to the middle of the field.
Gets right in the quarterback's vision. Nice job by the line to seal off to allow Phillip Rivers to step up instead of buy time going sideways. Craig, that's a great job by Cobbs.
And you know what? He's over there hollering SEC. That was an ACC guy that threw the football.
New quarterback now in for the North team. It's Cody Pickett out of Washington. The North has yet to complete a pass in this game. Pickett hands the ball off. Inside to Tatum Bell. Set it down to Rob Stone. Rob?
Yeah, we're with Philip Rivers right now. And tell us about the most valuable thing you've taken away from this week working with the NFL teams and the scouts.
Well, it's just they all have such great knowledge and a chance to learn. And we get to get prepped, for what it's like practicing in the NFL, meetings and all that. And for me, it was interesting to learn different terminology. I've been playing with the same terminology for 4 years, so to kind of get a feel for what it's going to be like in the next level.
I'm sure everybody's been asking you about your throwing motion, and you had these personal meetings. What kind of questions did they ask you about it, and how did you respond?
I mean, I got that question a lot, and I think gradually from year to year, the talk about it has decreased. And I hope this week I was able to show even more why it's really not a problem. But certainly, if it becomes a problem, more of a problem in the future, then I'm going to be willing to do whatever to keep playing.
All right, Phil, thanks for your time.
Thanks.
He doesn't need to change a darn thing with those results, Mark.
No, he doesn't. The ACC Player of the Year is Marty Schottenheimer. Looks on right now. His team leading 7-0, and it's 3rd and 9 for Cody Pickett. A fumbled snap exchange, and the South may be on it. The bottom of the pile.
Dockett, I believe, Mark.
Darnell Dockett from Florida State, a man who has really come alive down here this week practicing, and I'll tell you what, he is a load. We watched the South practice, and he can really be disruptive.
Yeah, and you know what he has, and he's a dominant inside player that stock has gone through the roof, as you heard Mel Kiper Jr. talk about early. But here's what you can't do. Because what Marvin Lewis has tried to do is put the center with the quarterback so they work with the same guy all week. And I know it's going to happen, Craig, but it drives a coach crazy. And of all the quarterbacks that he's got to take the responsibility in this game who have the most to prove, Cody Pickett's that guy.
So I guess what you're saying, you ought to go to the room in the after hours and take a few snaps.
That's exactly right.
Rivers still in the ball game, working out of the eye, throws over the middle, touchdown South. Ernest Wilford from Virginia Tech, the first Tech player ever to put back-to-back 50-catch seasons together, gets the second touchdown on the day from Philip Rivers.
All right, you coaches and scouts and general managers that are home watching, and please don't try to change that guy's throwing motion. Right on the money, that skinny post. And a lot of coaches will judge a quarterback on how he throws that because the timing and getting it out with the accuracy, what a great pitch and catch at the end.
You think Kiper's down there changing his rankings?
Well, Brent Smith makes it good. Philip Rivers gets it done off of the fumble. One play. It took 6 seconds, 21 yards, and the South now leads 14-0 with 5:20 remaining in the first. Any questions about Philip Rivers? Well, they've been answered early on. 8 of 13, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. There's still 5:20 remaining in the first quarter, and I'm with you. There have been a lot of quarterbacks that have been successful in the National Football League that have had ugly releases. I think this kid's going to have a bright future in the NFL.
Tell you what happens. You start to change somebody who's had success doing what he does, and then you screw him up. It's like taking a golf swing and trying to change what you've been doing forever, and then the next day you go out there, you can't hit it off the tee. You leave him alone, and you just polish what he's got and continue to watch his mechanics so they stay that way.
He's on a stage right now with some very good athletes out there, and right now he's risen above that stage. You know, and not often do you find a player on a field like this who can do that.
Well, every time he plays, he wins an MVP in a bowl game. And
ask Bobby Bowden in Florida State, Ohio State, and all those other ones.
Coakley from 2 yards deep. He's tackled at about the 23-yard line. We take another look at the touchdown pass from Philip Rivers, his second of the day.
Mark, you want to draw it up, and Craig, here's how you draw it up and say this is how you throw it. Ball out now. Just gets his head around. Look at his feet. Ball's already gone, and he's throwing the football. Snaps his head around, puts it out in front on the 1-9 for the touchdown. Nice throw to Wilford. You cannot throw the ball any better than that.
New quarterback now in, John Navarre from Michigan. Single back set, works outside. Johnny Morant of Syracuse to pick up about 5 yards on the play. And let's get Mel Kiper Jr.'s thought on Rivers. Mel?
Mark, I'll tell you, I've been impressed down here on field level. The way he snaps it off, that quick release, and the accuracy and the poise that he showed when he hit Cedric Cobbs for that touchdown. To me, guys, he reminds me a lot of Bernie Kosar, both at Miami, what he did at the college level, and on to a successful career with the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. I see Philip Rivers as the next Bernie Kosar. Cerebral, smart, the unorthodox delivery, but still successful.
Well, certainly point by Rivers a little more athletic than Bernie, I think.
Well, who wasn't?
2nd and 6. Morant, the wide receiver again, as Navarre starts to get some work here. And again, over 8,900 career passing yards. He threw for over 3,300 yards his past season, and of course lost the football game in the Rose Bowl. 72 passing touchdowns, a school record at Michigan, breaking Elvis Gerbach's former record of 71.
You know what I think of John Navarre, a guy who persevered. He hung in there because the pressure on him in Michigan was
kept talking about benching him. Yeah, and he
so when he goes to Sunday, he's not going to be worried. He's had pressure.
Took to about 112,000 every Saturday.
Big, strong arm, 6'6", concerns about his foot speed. He's a little lumbering as he comes back out, and for the third straight time goes to Johnny Morant, the Syracuse wide receiver, for a pickup of 13.
Yeah, if you like big, strong quarterbacks, he's one to get. Mark, you mentioned 6'6". He's about, what, 235, 240? But the question is when things break down, can John Navarre make it? And when we talk about feet, you guys notice, we're not talking about the ability to scramble. We're talking about the ability to buy time in the pocket. And he's got to prove that he can do that here at this game and throughout this offseason with the combine and the rest.
99 backs wide. Isn't that what he called? I left out 99 backs wide.
Got a little swing route by the back.
99 protection.
Blue Wave team.
Navarre again now throws it outside to the Minnesota back, Tepe. Tepe is hit immediately, a pickup of maybe 2 on the play before Derek Pope, the linebacker Alabama, lays the wood down.
So if you're faint of heart, you might not want to play this sport. There you see right coming from the eyes of Derek Pope, 22, Craig, driving on the football, and when he gets there, the nice finish.
And there's that backs wide that was called in the huddle, right? 99 got your protection, backs wide. They both swung left and right.
Tepe had a problem earlier this week. He showed up, his helmet didn't show up. He borrowed one, broke that one, walked around with headaches for a couple of days. He's probably got another one right now as James Newsom from Oregon State makes a circus catch, a pickup of just 2 yards. As Greg Brooks and Edric Pruitt were there, as Navarre waits for a signal, and we're going to lay out here and listen to the huddle call and see if we can pick anything up for this 3rd down and 7 play.
Here we go. Good conversion now. I right rip. 343 backs M on 1. Ready? Sit in now. Let's go.
All right, guys. So what's the play?
3 route. On the
outcut. That should be an outcut by the wide
receivers. In by the backs.
Colbert and Jenkins, the 2 wide receivers. And again, the outcut. Another almost circus catch by Jenkins. The Ohio State wide receiver running the out on Greg Brooks, but the ball is thrown behind him. And that's going to bring up 4th down.
This is another big receiver, Mike Jenkins, there at the top. Little 12-yard speed out, gets out of it, ball thrown behind him, but has been impressive. Big body with these big corners now in the NFL. Mel talked about he's had as good a week as anybody here, has catapulted himself way up the list in the draft.
Lyle Larson on to do the punting now for the North squad. He's averaged 45 yards a punt, 22 inside the 20. And Kewan Ratliff is back deep. Ball fumbled around, but Ratliff will take it at the 16, and he's dropped immediately after a 1-yard pickup. A punt of 33 yards. ESPN's live coverage of X Games Elite continues at 9 o'clock Eastern Time with the women's snowboard super pipe and the snowcross qualifying. Winter X Games 8 live from ESPN. Colorado on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
I got to come clean, guys. Those Winter X Games, those guys will try stuff I wouldn't dream of. They're crazy. I love them.
I've done them before, but it wasn't intended.
Landed on your head instead of your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Philip Rivers still in the ball game, leading 14-0. Play action, plenty of time and looking deep. He's got Henderson wide open. And Henderson at the 20 and finally tripped up inside the 20-yard line. And there's a flag on the play. Rich Gardner, the corner from Penn State, was on coverage. It's a 65-yard pickup, and I would imagine they'll pick up that flag.
It's going to be a pass interference, the holding call on the corner, and Henderson runs right through the holding call. The great throw. We've now seen Philip Rivers. Let's listen to the call first, Mark. Awesome job. But now we see him throw the short one, the medium one. How about this one? Let's go long with it. Step up there. 5 and a hitch. Throw right now. Doesn't look like he's got a problem to me, Craig.
No, he didn't. And then Henderson. How about Henderson running to the football? Just sprint, get to the football. And the fact that Rivers put it out there, What else can you ask from these two particular, this pass catch combination?
Short, intermediate, and long. He's done it all. Marty's putting him in position.
They run the ball up inside. Big Greg Jones out of Florida State runs over Stuart Schweigert, and the South is in the end zone again. You talk about a big bruising running back. My goodness, Greg Jones.
I call those yokes, dude, because he's got some arms that are like pythons.
Yokes. He's busted an egg or two out there. There's yokes on the ground. The thing about Greg Jones is that when he's trying to make an adjustment for the NFL, it'll be minimal because he's not a dancer out there. He's going to run through arm tackles, and that's what the NFL guys need. They don't need the dancers.
He ran through that one. Stuart Schweigert on the receiving end of that punishment.
Brent Smith is good on the extra point, and take another look at this run by Greg Jones.
First of all, and it all started, Mark, up front, right? They got a little push. There's some lane there, but look at the cutback, the vision that he had to get back, and he ran right behind his shoulder pads.
Stewart just found out who his daddy was, didn't he? That would be Greg Jones.
Yeah. Oh,
bam.
Man. Schweigert. Yowzers. That's a nailer. But with his power and strength, if he stays with that kind of leverage, you hear people say, "Hey, play low, play behind your pads."
Yeah, he was below his. Low man wins in that battle, Mark.
I did one of their games. Back when they had Maryland this year, and I was saying they're tackle to tackle. You know, they're tackle to tackle runner. He's really not a guy. Next thing you know, he bounces to the outside and he goes around the corner.
Yep.
Well, do you remember the play against the University of North Carolina when he ran over that kid?
Looked him up too.
I'll tell you, that was one of the great hits in college football this season.
His teammates told him that ain't right. You can't do that.
He's a big guy. Of course, he had knee surgery back in 2002. He's probably not the same runner he was this past season earlier on. Certainly wasn't as productive, but boy, he's something to look at.
We've been talking about whether or not he can catch the football. You know, I think that's the thing that people are looking at. But if you can get 4 yards and be consistent there and give him some pass protection, don't throw him the football.
A lot of guys played about 12 years catching it, running at 4.2 yards a carry, Craig. But he does have to improve his hands.
Coakley from the 2. Up inside and hammered at about the 24-yard line. And Rob Stone is standing by with Greg Jones. Rob?
We're with Greg, and you guys mentioned the hands, something that maybe the scouts have been talking to you about on your receiving end, something you need to work on?
Yeah, so it's something I need to work on, but it's not nothing that I can't improve on.
All right, you guys were mentioning his pipes, right? I got to put my tape measure to work again because I got it here. Let's measure this bad boy. Put it around there. Come on, hold on. I'm killing you.
Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
That's a good 17.5 inches. That's also my thigh.
That's as big as your chest.
Easy.
Navarre comes out throwing the football right away, and he finds Michael Jenkins from Ohio State for a first down. And speaking of Craig Jones, this was an opportunity to work under NFL practice conditions, and of course you are measured, you are weighed, you are scrutinized up and down. Take a look at Greg Jones's body during weigh-in, guys.
Oh, come on up here and have a look. See, there's Marty addressing him. You're going to love this one. Not that body.
No, that's not Greg Jones.
That's not the body we were looking at. We'll get to Greg Jones in a second here.
All right, we'll get that tape queued up for you here in just a second. They come out throwing again, and Jenkins again. The big target for these North quarterbacks picks up about 5 yards on the play before Bower and Smith are there on the stop.
Here's the body we're talking about now. When he turns around, first of all, that's called ripple, but when he turns around, he's got what you call an 8-pack. You can't buy that in stores. Hello.
Hey, the first thing I thought of when he turned around was you, John. I said, that's Salisbury.
Tell me something I don't know.
I'm telling you, you're all about a 6-pack.
You're only human.
Absolutely. Ripples.
I'll tell you what, that arm's a lot bigger than 17.5 inches long. All right, Michael Turner now from Northern Illinois in the ball game and gets the carry. And he's going to be close to a first down, a pickup of about 4 yards.
Guys, it's safe to say there's a little bit of a domination by the South team right now.
Oh, there is absolutely no doubt. Again, 21-0 as Philip Rivers has put on a clinic here in the first quarter.
Yeah, Mel Kiper's done gone back and changed his old draft order.
So Philip Rivers takes a rest. We're done with the first quarter. We'll switch sides and come back for quarter number 2 from Mobile, Alabama. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to Ladd People Stadium, the 55th annual Senior Bowl, as the South has jumped out with a scoring fest in the first quarter, leading 21-0, thanks in large part to Philip Rivers. who, by the way, has led the South squad to 193 total yards in the first quarter alone.
Now, we're three competitive guys, or we wouldn't have had a chance to do what we did. You know for a fact that those other quarterbacks on these sidelines are down there wanting a chance to get out and show what they can do.
Because they don't want to walk out of here saying, who are the other 5 guys that played quarterback in this game? There was only one, and that was Phillip Rivers.
And we talked at the very top of the show. Yes, Eli Manning isn't here, but there's a battle going on for who will be the 3rd quarterback drafted in the upcoming NFL draft. Will it be J.P. Losman or Phillip Rivers? Well, Phillip Rivers is setting the bar pretty high.
What happens if the Chargers decide they'll wait till the 2nd round with that first pick and take Phillip Rivers and draft somebody else with the first pick? He's doing a great job of impressing the staff over there.
Rivers isn't going to be there in the 2nd round.
Oh, I know he's not. Wishful thinking.
Navarre goes back to work now out of a 1-back set. Down the field he goes, looking for his wide receiver. The ball juggled and then finally dropped by Jenkins.
That's an Ohio State guy trying to drop it for a Michigan guy. Come on now.
Well, if you're just joining us here in Mobile, Alabama, let's get you caught up. Rivers has been hot. 9 of 14, 163 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That one to Ernest Wilford. And then later on, the big long pass here. Devery Henderson, who has been great in this game. And then Greg Jones, who's had a rough week here at the Senior Bowl, runs that in. And the South takes a 21-0 lead here in the first quarter.
Craig, you talked about competitiveness, and I'll tell you what, the North squad want to get it going because you don't want to get whipped against this team either.
2nd down, the bootleg. Navarre looking for the comeback and overthrows Colbert badly on the right sideline.
Timing is something that, you know, as quarterbacks, y'all had to deal with, but this is something when you watch and you observe, he's got a great play action. Look at the movement. Look how everybody's come. He's given himself an opportunity to come around. Now, Sean, watch what he does. He's late with the throw. It's got to be gone.
Yep.
You know the comeback's coming.
And he almost got in between his feet. You're right, Craig. When he comes out of there, you just snap the head around. Ball comes out now. Leave the receiver to get the timing down to come out of that route for you.
After missing his first 2 pass attempts, Navarre now 7 of 12. 3rd and 10. Goes outside of Maurice Brown, who makes a diving catch. He'll be way short of the first down. Ontarius Thomas from Auburn is there to make the tackle after a 3-yard pickup.
And people at home, if you're wondering why you're going to see a ton of throwing in this, it's because the defense is in this, guys. You don't blitz. A lot of cover 3, which is 3 deep, and a lot of man coverage. So really it's set up for the passing game. So we will see a lot of balls thrown in the air today.
Set. Blue 18.
North will go for it now on 4th and 7. Navarre over the middle to his running back, and it's going to be just enough for a first down. Boulware and Smith there on the stop, a pickup of about 7, and they'll move the chains on this.
That's smart football by Navarre. At 4th and 7, you know that at times, Mark, maybe guys who don't trust himself enough will try to force the ball in. Trust the guys. You're playing with a bunch of all-stars. Dump that ball down. As Craig knows, and Merrill down there, the factor backs are important. Get them the ball. Let them do something with it after.
You're just calling us factor backs.
Yeah, because you guys are big.
Occasionally a 3rd and 7 or something. I got him, Haji.
And they fake the reverse. Turner gets the ball, and he's hammered at the line of scrimmage by Edric Pruitt. A pickup of 0 on the play. Pruitt, 122 tackles on the year for Southern Miss, a 2-time All-Conference USA player. And he will lay the wood to you.
He's not afraid to hit you, is he?
No, he is not. 3 interceptions on the season, 3 fumble recoveries. He was a big-time player for Southern Miss, and who will forget that game late in the year against TCU.
Oh, man.
Took Cinderella's slipper, didn't they?
He certainly did.
Blue 18.
Navarre, 2nd and 10, looks deep for Colbert. And Kewan Radliff from Florida is there to break up the play. And Radliff, again, one of the big-time players here, holds the Florida record for punt return yards. He had 9 interceptions, guys, this season, which, by the way, is a school record.
Pretty darn quick, and in pregame he had this little tail behind his pants that was red and blue hanging down, and he's got great acceleration. You see the closing speed and the ability to get up on the football. And in the NFL, you have to have that stop and get right in there to make the play. I mean, the guy's quick.
Is he physical enough, guys? I want to ask Mel that before this over to find out if he's physical enough to play against those guys. He's only 5'10", about $175.
On the 10th play of the drive, Navarre looks for Maurice Brown, who can't make the catch at the 25, and that's going to bring up another 4th down, but this one will be 4th and 10.
And it's interesting, too, but he's a great punt returner. He can turn ball,
yes, he
and
can.
he's got great speed. And if Mel's down there, Keywan Ratliff, he's playmaker. Is he physical enough? Is he physical enough to make it at the next level big time?
Sean, he's not going to. What he's not going to do is be Derek Strait. He's not going to have all those tackles. What he is a very instinctive corner with great ball skills. I think the question is going to be recovery speed. If he runs in the 4.4s, he could be a second-round pick. But the good question with Ratliff is, good college corner, excellent college corner. Can he translate that into the National Football? If he runs well, I think he's a second-round draft choice.
All right, Mel Kiper weighing in on Keywan Ratliff as Navarre goes deep, and Kerry Colbert, a beautiful catch down the right sideline, and the North is on the board.
See, Kerry Colbert felt sorry for Michigan from the Rose Bowl, from SC. What's he do? Goes up and catches the ball at the top. That's called going to get me.
Well, you know, John Navarre saw him catching all those balls against him. He figured, look, dude, it's 4th and 10. Give me something. Give me some love. And that's a good defensive back, basher over there he's going against. So look how he goes up and catches the ball above it. You know what? I mean, that's just, the guy had an outstanding Rose Bowl game.
He did, and it heightened his awareness and the people's awareness about him. Overlooked by Mike Williams at USC, but I love the point you made, Craig. Go up and get it at its highest point. Make a play for your quarterback. Nice job. Good throw by Navarre Mark to give his player a chance to catch it.
Colbert, a USC record of 206 career receptions for the Trojans, as Nate Keating lines up for the extra point, makes good on it, and the North pulls within 2 touchdowns. And speaking of wide receivers, when we come back, we're going to discuss the latest on Pittsburgh wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. Stay with us here in Mobile, Alabama. Gary Colbert, the wide receiver of USC, getting the North on the board to make it 21-7. And Shad Williams, the running back from Alabama, takes it at the goal line. Williams a crease and then brought down at the 25-yard line. And let's bring Mel Kiper Jr. back in with the latest on Larry Legend, Larry Fitzgerald. Will he be in the NFL this coming season, Mel?
I think he will, Mark. I think either through the regular phase of the NFL draft or the supplemental draft. I think Larry Fitzgerald is a part of the National Football League this coming season. I think the 2nd pick overall, if he's in the regular phase, the Oakland Raiders. Jerry Porter, some age at the other spots, and a guy like Fitzgerald be ideal with Rich Gannon coming back. Fitzgerald, I believe, if he's in the regular phase, will be the #1 player on most teams' NFL draft boards. 6'3", 220, big hands, humble approach, great talent, tremendous ability to adjust to the poorly thrown ball. He's the real deal. I think, like I say, he's a #1 guy on a lot of teams' boards if he's available.
All right, J.P. Lossman in the game now. Mel, while we have you, let's go over your top 5 here at the wide receiver position.
I'll tell you what, Michael Jenkins had an uncharacteristic drop today, but he had an excellent week. He's in that mid to late 1st round. Clayton and Williams, the 2 juniors, depends on how they run. They could ascend from the late 1st into the mid 1st, and I think Roy Williams, maybe 9th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We already talked about Fitzgerald, and Devery Henderson from LSU had a nice year, dropped a couple catchable balls, had a great week and a great game so far with his size-speed combination and the productivity and the consistency this week in practice. And today, Devery Henderson has certainly established himself as maybe a late 1st round draft choice as well.
Kerry Colbert, Devery Henderson should be on that list right there.
Well, we can only put 5, Craig.
I know, but 2 got to go. I mean, Roy Williams, that's pretty darn high.
Now, wait a minute. There's a high throw by Lossman. You're going to tell me right now that you don't think... Well, we'll get to Roy Williams in a second. You got to go to Hodge.
Yeah, let's go down to Merrill Hodge. He's got a special guest. Merrill?
Yeah, well, the North down 21-0. Kerry Colbert, you guys needed a big play. You came up with it.
Yeah, I mean, they just called the play. You know, we ran it and happened to execute it to the best of our ability.
Now, what has been the biggest adjustment for you this week, going from college to the National Football League? What are the things you've been working on?
Just the little things. You know, you have to be real specific in your routes and things like that. So, you know, you can't get away a lot of the stuff you used to get away with in college. So you got to be real, you know, specific on your routes and your depths and things like that.
Now, I'm fair in calling you guys the national champions, right?
Oh, yeah. Me and Chad was out there that last series talking. I gave him a #1, and I told him we was #1.
Well, good job. I know you guys got to do some more work out there, but thanks for joining us. Mark, back to you.
All right, Merrill, and J.P. Losman now in the game. A big completion to Shad Williams, the running back out of the backfield, picks up 17 in man-to-man coverage against Grant Wiley of West Virginia. And guys, I've had the opportunity to do probably 3 games of J.P. Losman, and I think he might be mechanically the most sound quarterback here at the Senior Bowl.
And the biggest arm of all of them. The thing that's impressive, we talked about it earlier, Mark and Craig, is that the guy got punished all year long. It's easy to play when you're winning by 35, but to come back like that and keep playing shows a sign of toughness and attitude.
Losman the draw to Williams up inside, and he's hit immediately by Brandon Everidge, the big safety out of Oklahoma, and that'll be a pickup of 4 yards on the play.
Hey, before we get back to Losman, I got to call you out on this. Last year, Roy Williams at Texas, if he comes out early, stays in school for Texas, he's a top 5 pick. Now, was it Mac Brown that held him back, or you really don't think he's that good?
No, I think Roy Williams is a good football player, but we happen to be in a time right now where we are in the midst of a lot of really good wide receivers. I mean, we're just in a whole abundance of them. So when you're looking at wide receivers as a team, you have to determine what style of wide receiver do I want?
Right.
Do I want a big-bodied guy like Roy Williams, or do I want somebody like Kerry Colbert's that's a little bit more versatile with a slot, maybe?
It depends on what kind of offensive philosophy he has. As Losman goes back outside and picks his wide receiver, Conchery. And that's going to be enough for a first down.
Well done.
Joey Thomas of Montana State is there in coverage, and we'll call it 8 on the pickup.
Hey, Mark, when we talked about this, these 6, when you look down the road, we were talking about the quarterbacks, and Losman's the one guy people are really intrigued with, that what's the upside down the road or the potential. But the thing that he does, that he's got to fix, and that may have come from getting pounded this year, is he holds on the ball a little bit too long when he has to scramble out. But, man, when he puts his foot in the ground and timing's on, he's athletic, he's strong, he's got some attitude, and he can flat out throw it as good as any of them. Check him out in the huddle,
This is our
guys.
drive right here. Let's go. Jack right close, power right, second sound. Ready?
Power right. JP coming from the sideline. Obviously not really pushing that hard for a pass play here on 1st and 10.
That would be power right, Mark.
Carried by Mewelde Moore, who, by the way, is Losman's teammate at Tulane, a pickup of about 3 yards. That'll bring up 2nd down and 7.
All right, power right. That, you know, what was coming over to guard here. Let's see what number 6 does here. Let's see how he finds his guy. Does he find his man? Because for Greg Jones, he just had the cutback run, but as a big-bodied guy, they're wanting to find out, are you going to hit somebody in the nose as well?
And you don't want to take a play off. You just can't do that. You got to find a way to be more versatile.
Talking to Marty Schottenheimer, we asked him, is this guy a running back? I said, you know, maybe he's a fullback. So we tried to use him at fullback a little bit early. Was not real happy about that transition. He wants to be a running back. The question is he too big for that position to be successful at the next level? Gets the ball and just runs over the linebacker, DeMario Williams of Nebraska. Pickup of 0 on the play. Wow.
Williams, I'm not sure what he's mad about. He's just maybe glad he avoided or made it through that collision.
Wow.
The thing is, it's amazing. You guys talked about when he doesn't want to block anybody because he does. Maybe he doesn't want to block him too good, so he can stay as a running back instead of a fullback.
I know that theory.
But when you but when you put a ball in his hands, it's almost like a security blanket. Boy, does he run hard and punishing. Well, you weren't a blocker, bud?
No, I wasn't, man. I'm telling you, it wasn't going to happen.
I didn't see you and Eric Dickerson blocking anybody in SMU, did I?
Blue 50. Blue 50. Hut.
J.P. Losman pump faking down the middle. Had a wide open receiver, Triandos Luke out of Alabama, but the ball just slightly underthrown, and Will Allen, the safety out of Ohio State, is there to make the play.
You know what, Mark? We talk about the arm strength, and sometimes your biggest strength is your biggest weakness because you think you can make every throw. He had him. He didn't reset his feet, stood in there and throw it. And have a look now. Probably a little late, Craig.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm wondering, did he really need to pump fake? Watch the middle of the field here. Watch the center fielder, the free safety. You know what? Did he really need to pump fake? Because the center fielder, the free safety, was out of the way anyway.
Absolutely.
Just let the ball go because your receivers got him beat.
And made him a little late, which entailed didn't get him set his feet. Ball hangs up there. Most of the time, that kid will make that throw. You know what? I'm really fond of watching him in practice, Mark. And when you and I were standing out there, he moves around. That ball comes out of his hand quickly.
He's got the prettiest ball here, there's no doubt. Now he faces a 4th down and 7 from the 39.
Blue 50.
3 wide receivers set for Losman. Sprints to the right, finds Henderson and hits him right in the face mask. Would have been enough for a first down, but Henderson cannot hold on.
Wow. Now that is why somebody will like a Lossman. The way he moves the pocket, which in the NFL you got to be able to move away from the middle of that field.
And have a look. We talked last time when Navarro's a little late. Have a look now. Lossman, ball comes out, and it comes out now. No wasted motion when he gets out of the pocket.
All right, so Lossman will go to the sideline. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at Mel's top 5 running backs. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back to Lad People Stadium. The South leading 21-7. Bowling Green's Josh Harris now in the football game at quarterback. College football's top double threat. He can throw and run. Come out and hand the ball off immediately to Julius Jones, the running back out of Notre Dame. And speaking of running backs, let's get Mel Kiper Jr.'s top 5. Mel?
Mark, you don't see the junior influence at running back in particular with guys like Steven Jackson, certainly out of Oregon State, Kevin Jones, Virginia Tech. I think those are two guys that are going to be battling for the middle of the first round area. Chicago Bears looking running back, New England Patriots looking running back as well. Jackson's a big back who's really come on this year, had a heck of a season. Dennis Erickson has really spoken highly of his former running back when he was with the Beavers. Jones is an athletic running back with game-breaking ability. You want to see him break a few more tackles. And I think when you look at some of the other running backs, Greg Jones, only a year removed from that major knee injury, guys. Remember, he averaged 6 yards per carry, dropped to 4.2 a carry. He's still on the improve coming back from that knee injury.
All right, Mel, we'll get back to you in just a second, but how about Dave Ball from UCLA? A first-team All-American, led the nation with 16.5 sacks, and he sniffs this reverse right out, guys.
Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. That's called a guy when you have a responsibility, instead of chasing down the line mark, he has the outside contained, comes in, does his assignment, guy comes at him, and he makes the fast guy go down with a sure tackle. Nice job. Had a great year for the UCLA Bruins this year.
So that brings up 2nd down and 20 now. Harris up in the pocket, is out. Here's where he's been so dangerous, and he gets the ball back out just past the 35-yard line. A pickup of 7 for Darrell Smith. The middle linebacker out of Georgia Tech is there to haul him down.
You talk about that double threat, Mark. What a great season he had this year for Bowling Green. His ability there, you see second in the NC2A, 43 career rushing touchdowns. And it's not like he's a 4-3 guy. He understands how to pick his lanes and go, does it all. Somebody, we talked to Marvin Lewis, the head coach for his squad, and he said that down the road, maybe out of the 3 guys on his team, that Josh Harris may be the best of his group.
Kyle Larson, a wobbly kick, and Vasher waves everybody off. The ball bounced down to about the 15-yard line. So not particularly good field position now for the North, who trailed 21-7 with 6:37 remaining here in the second quarter.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Senior Bowl. Brought to you by The Neighborhood, built by MCI. Unlimited local and long distance for one low monthly price. And by Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Welcome back. 1st and 10 now for the North, or excuse me, the South, who lead 21-7 in this one. And Greg Jones, the running back from Florida State, picks up 2 yards. And speaking of running backs, let's bring our own Factor back in with his take on the running back crop here at the Senior Bowl. Merrill?
Well, you know, Mark, I think as you guys were talking about running backs, one of the most important things, I think, going to the National Football League is being able to read blitzes and being able to pick them up. One of the things they don't do at the Senior Bowl is blitz, so we're not able to watch that or evaluate that today. So another thing, though, the versatility of a back coming out. You know, can he run the football? I think a lot of these guys can run the football, but can they catch the football? Because where that becomes important, can I keep a guy in on 3rd down? Can I keep him in on 2nd and long? All those things become important to offensive coordinators in keeping a player out on the field. But if they can pick up blitzes, they can catch the football, because we know they can run, they'll be valuable in the National Football League.
All right, Merrill, something you certainly did extremely well in your NFL career, both in Pittsburgh and Chicago, as the ball is thrown to Watson, the big tight end out of Georgia. And he's tackled at about the 27-yard line, a pickup of 8.
The interesting thing that Merrill made the point, Mark, we watched Lossman come out of here. They were teaching him this week, get your head around, and he does. Because you may have a defensive end that's coming up the field. Nice job of squaring up and throwing the football for a positive gain. And Merrill was talking about those backs, and that's Big Watson, the tight end from Georgia, who's whose body only second to Greg Jones.
He's large.
Yes, Merrill talked about those backs you don't have to take out. Think about the top backs in the NFL right now. Holmes, Tomlinson, Portis, Amon Green. What do all of them do? They stay in all three downs.
Catch the ball.
Catch and run.
Mossman to Noeldy Moore up inside to about the 33-yard line on the play, and that'll be a pickup of 5. Two of the top teams in the Big East meet tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. It's a battle of the Big East with number 16 Syracuse faces number 9 Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. The Orange men saw their 13-game win streak come to an end at Seton Hall. NCAA basketball on ESPN2. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com.
I think the South's offensive line has done a nice job of allowing these quarterbacks to have rhythm. And even with Lossman in there right now, they still look like they've got some rhythm going. You know, so the guys up front have given it to them.
They're changing their aiming point, too. They're not just dropping them back. They're bootlegging them, moving the pocket. Makes it easy on those linemen, Fred. Good job.
Lossman comes out. A high throw, but reeled in by Wilford on the sideline. What a tremendous catch. And Wilford has had a big day early on. Ricardo Coakley is there on the coverage. It's a 9-yard pickup.
And he got the 1 foot in bounds. That's all you need in this game.
You know, when you were asking about Roy Williams, and I said, hey, it's not that I don't like Roy Williams. I appreciate him for coming back, matter of fact, for his senior year. He's a great player. But when you have guys like Wilford out there, there's just an abundance of really big, talented wide receivers.
More so than ever, you're right.
And you mentioned big. Wilford is 6'3", 221. Guys, he came to Virginia Tech in his freshman year. He was playing defensive end.
Wise move on the position switch. And Larry Fitzgerald, Mel was talking about him. We were great kid, but also the best body control of a guy I've seen in a long time in a college position.
Key word he used, humble.
Yep.
I really like that.
Come out, throw the hit screen to Wilford. And he gets by one tackler, forced out of bounds at about midfield by Ricardo Coakley, a pickup of 9 yards.
I'm impressed with what he does with the football once he gets it in his hands, guys. Wolford, I like him.
He's a good player.
Improved all week, too, as the staff was telling us in the game before the game that he made improvement all week long. And that they like him.
We saw the school record of 55 catches. I said earlier in the broadcast, he's the first Virginia Tech player in the history of the school's football program to put back-to-back 50-plus catch seasons together.
And this guy here, Coakley, you know, he's out here trying to really impress the scouts, maybe more so than a lot of the kids here. He's got a big platform. When you're going against Wilford, that's a different challenge, right? I mean, he's got a big one there.
Marvin Lewis said he's probably had the most progress of any player this week. Again, from Tusculum College in Nashville, Tennessee. Lossman drops back and looks deep on the deep out. And the ball almost picked off by Derek Straits.
Here's Mark, the difference in Craig, as we well know, from college to pro is the anticipation of throwing the ball. You can have the strongest arm in the world, but if you're a split second late, that ball he just throws is they're walking in the end zone the other way. You got to anticipate, but you also got to get it out and trust that the receiver will finish.
And I thought he was late because I was sitting there saying, oh boy, here comes a pick. But his arm is so blazing strong.
He made up for it.
But he'll have to be taught that you can't depend on that.
You know what? The arm strength will come in when it comes. Just if you're throwing it on time. Montana Young, not great arms, guys, but the anticipation, the accuracy was awesome.
We should also mention he worked a great deal out of the shotgun at Tulane, and having to drop back from the center is something he's really kind of had to relearn this week. It works again, and the ball again broken up this time, intended for Jericho Kochery, but Coakley is there again to make another play.
Guys, the hitch and go is going to come up eventually before this is over because they're starting to squat. You've seen a lot of hitches, and they're starting to do this little 6-yard hitch that he drives on it. Coakley makes a very good play.
He read the quarterback's eyes.
All the way.
He's sitting there looking through at those quarterbacks, and you know, the last play, Wilford hooked up, and he caught it, and he made a nice gain. That time, he reacted.
Coach is talking to Coakley, no doubt, saying, now that's great, but they're going to hitch and go you here in a second, so just be careful. Donnie Jones from LSU back to punt, and Michael Jenkins of Ohio State, big, tall, wide receiver, will let this bounce, and it'll go into the end zone. So the North now trailing by 14 will get the ball back at the 20-yard line. Josh Harris will be in the ball game when we come back with 3:03 left in this first half. Back in Mobile, Alabama, the South leading the North 21-7 with just over 3 minutes remaining. Josh Harris now in the football game at quarterback. The MVP of the Motor City Bowl, guys, where he threw a record 38 completions in that football game. And the ball off to Tatum Bell out of Oklahoma State, and maybe a yard gain. We understand Merrill Hodges found a fellow Idahoan.
You're exactly right. Right down here with Marvin Harris. Marvin, 21-0. It's just like you scripted it, right?
Yeah, we want to see if we can play with adversity.
You know, I mean, we joke a little bit about that, but adversity, watching these players play under adversity, how do they handle it? That's also important in evaluating these people.
Well, it's important, the fact that you want a guy to still keep his poise and continue to do his job and know that we're one play away from being a 2-score game and one play from being a 1-score game.
Now, since they scored 21 points, you guys have scored 7. And now you guys have responded, got the ball back. What did you tell them, or what have they done?
Well, we just want to settle down and do what we need to do, make first downs, tackle better on defense, and, you know, tip one in the air. Maybe we'll get one back the other way.
It all started back at Idaho State.
Idaho State, indeed. Marvin Lewis done such a terrific job with the Cincinnati Bengals, turning that franchise around, and certainly happy to be here to coach these great college football players. Josh Harris there completing the ball to Johnny Morant outside. Bruce Thornton was in coverage, and it's just short of a first down. It'll bring up now 3rd down and 1. Tatum Bell got some speed, but won't get a chance to use it. He will, however, pick up the first down. Madu Williams, the safety from Maryland, there to make the stop after a 3-yard pickup.
Man, how about number 20, Madu Williams, coming up? You know, that you talk about filling the lane, and safeties are critical. The way you play the 8 boxes. Watch how he comes up. Watch 20 come up in there immediately.
Well, you're asking of those safeties, and Williams did it there, to be fast enough to cover somebody and run, but be physical enough to play linebacker in this league at the next level. And Williams did just that on that play.
1st and 10, 3 wide receiver set for Harris. Comes out throwing, and intended for Maurice Brown, but he can't hold on. And just a reminder again, coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, live coverage of X Games 8. It continues with the women's snowboard super pipe and the snowcross qualifying. The winner, X Games 8, live from Aspen, Colorado tonight on ESPN. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com. The wave is now making its way around the stadium with...
I thought we were done with that thing forever.
About 1:33 remaining here in the first half. Harris on 2nd and 10 out of the play action. Oh my goodness, the intended throw to Tatum Bell, but Derek Pope, the linebacker out of Alabama, who was a late ad here because of some injuries, again, a big hit.
That's called You've Got Mail.
All right, watch number 74 over here, Jacob Bell. Miami of Ohio going against Florida State. Watch his footwork. Keep pushing Darnell Dockett, who's an outstanding player. He worked and got him around the quarterback.
Push him by so the quarterback can slide up. Exactly right. Because you're not going to be able to stop him for 5 seconds. Push him by and allow your quarterback to maneuver in that pocket and to feel that pass rush. Nice job inside there.
I mentioned Josh Harris. Some coaches think might be the best long-term prospect at quarterback, but there's a chance where he's got a chance to dump it down. He throws it too hard to Tatum Bell. 3rd down and 10. And Harris will go down. The sack made by Bobby McCray, the big defensive end out of Florida, who had 9.5 sacks on the season for the Gators.
Who did he remind you guys of? There's a big fella who used to play there too named Javon Curse.
Yeah,
look at the
freak.
There you go, the inside, little stunt inside, runs right to the quarterback and doesn't miss. He plays awful high, guys, because when you're that tall and that athletic, you have a tendency to stay above your pads. But a nice job by him, and he does remind you, there you see 6'6", 245. There's some room to grow wide-wise with that guy right there, Craig.
So you're saying basically pass the M&M pack from Starks to whoever else is out there.
Give me 20 more pounds and let's go get it, man. Yeah. you like that M&M phrase,
I like that. That made sense to me.
You want to steal it?
I grasped it. No, I have been the whole night.
Guys, coming up at half here at the Senior Bowl, we'll go behind the scenes with quarterback Philip Rivers, see what it's like here all week long, and we'll take a look at Mel's mock draft for all you draftniks out there who are excited about the upcoming NFL draft. And since we're talking about draft, and we said that you can go on to ESPN.com, how about our poll question? And here it is. Who should be the #1 pick in the 2004 NFL Draft? Those are your choices. Fitzgerald, Gallery, the big tackle out of Iowa, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, or Kellen Winslow Jr., the tight end out of Miami. Go ahead and log on to ESPN.com and cast your vote. We'll continue to bring you updates throughout the second half.
I'll tell you a team that needs an offensive lineman. The Giants at number 4. Gallery. That may be as guaranteed a pick as there is in this draft.
They'd like it up there.
Larson, a short kick, and Nathan Vasher waves it off. And we're going to be at about the 26-yard line on that one. And you mentioned Robert Gallery. We've been talking all week long about what may or may not happen. San Diego, obviously, sitting there with the #1 pick overall. The question is, has Drew Brees convinced anybody there he is the guy for the future? Do they go ahead and trade that pick away and try to get more picks?
They've already got a great running game. LaDainian Tomlinson's maybe the best runner in the business, you know. So if you can just get something going up front, Drew Brees can manage a game and help them out. The Chargers are not that far away.
No, and I don't think they're ready to quit on him. I really don't. You know, when it's that they had a horrible offensive line last year. Nobody was a playmaker on that team, quite frankly, other than LaDainian Tomlinson, because David Boston comes in for $40+ million and couldn't play for squat for a while and ended up getting hurt. So if they get over the injuries, Boston comes back to being the guy he was 3 years ago. Maybe they pass up on Eli Manning and go somewhere else for other players.
Tough,
but I'll tell you,
if you pass on Eli Manning,
you better be good.
He turns out to be great. You know,
Marty Schottenheimer's certainly going to be given some slack. He's got a great reputation in the National Football League. But if they again suffer through another 4-12 season, the question is, will they be around again the following years? Matt Schaub now is in at quarterback for the South, and he hands it off to Moore inside for a pickup of 5.
People often ask, what are the Chargers' weaknesses? Well, I got a good punter and I got a good running back. And right now, I got a whole lot of weaknesses I got to fix. They got to get better at linebacker. They got 2 pretty good corners, but they also got to get you doggone a dominant defensive lineman, a guy who can stop it like a Dockett inside.
Yeah.
But you're not going to draft him with the first pick. And then on the offensive side, very difficult to pass up what may be a franchise quarterback and an Eli Manning type guy.
That's always what you talk about with Marty Schottenheimer. He's going to look at, you know, it's out there. If it's a franchise quarterback, no matter if you have a good quarterback, you can't pass a guy like that up. As Marty Schottenheimer told us, he says, is Eli Manning a franchise quarterback? I don't know that we know that yet or not.
And you know what? A guy we haven't really talked about tonight is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
We've seen Phillip Rivers have an extraordinary game here so far.
Yes.
So who's to say of those 3 guys, who's going to turn out to be the best guy? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into this thing.
No question. And if you got the first pick, you better hope you get it right. Because last time there was a Manning picked was with the first pick. The Colts took him. The Chargers took Ryan Leaf. We know how that one turned out. So Bill Polian made the right choice there. And there you see Manning, Roethlisberger, Lossman, Rivers, and Schaub. And we've got, what, 3 of them in this game, guys?
Yeah, and we put Lossman ahead of Rivers, but given Rivers' performance, given his career, certainly, in college, you wonder now whether or not he even might go up to Roethlisberger.
They'll put him there. We didn't put him there.
So after the timeouts, Sean Phillips comes up and bats the ball down. And that's going to bring up another down for the South squad as they already lead 21-7.
If you're, go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry.
But plus the fact, you know, when you talk about the quarterback and the franchise guy, you know, Merrill Hodge gave us like hours yesterday on this deal. You know, he's really against putting all the money into a quarterback because you only have so many dollars to spend.
Tell Hodge to see me later.
You know what? When all you are is a factor back, you're going to resent those quarterbacks.
Somebody's got to hand you the ball, Hodgie.
3rd down and 4. Schaub hands the ball off into Tulane's Weldy Moore, who's hammered for about a 1-yard pickup. Will Allen, the Ohio State safety, is in on the tackle. So, Haji, again, you talked Craig in my ear off all weekend long about this thing. Tell us what you're thinking about what you would do if you had the first overall pick.
Well, gentlemen, I think we always have to remember in the National Football League there is a budget. I mean, there is only so much money you can spend, and I think the standard is always the teams that are in the Super Bowl. There's one common denominator of both teams that are in the Super Bowl, Carolina and the Patriots, and they have great defenses. Both have chosen to do it differently offensively, but I think defensively, if you're allowed to have a great defense, you can do what you want offensively. If you put all your money into one player, then you can't spend it on defense, and sometimes it's hard to keep good offensive players around. So I think the mighty dollar rules in the National Football League, and you have to consider that as you put together a team, especially if you're going to win a Super Bowl.
A couple more inches in height and a better arm, buddy, you'd be talking a different tune, no doubt about it. As Michael Jenkins will not have a chance to field that ball. It's a bad kick by Donnie Jones, and it's going to be marked at about what here, the 45-yard line, only 22 yards on the punt from Jones.
And now all of a sudden the strategy changes here.
Take a shot. Get 2 shots and get it. Darn right. You challenge this and go after it. Hey, guys, in Mel's top 5, let's see. Manning, Fitzgerald. So if the Raiders would pick second, that's not a bad get, is it? I mean, think about the top 5, what you're going to get.
You got to find somebody to coach him first.
Yeah, Roethlisberger. Well, he may coach him, too. You never know. Roethlisberger, he may go to Arizona with a 3rd. 4th pick, Gallery to the Giants. Giants need an offensive lineman worse than the Chargers do. And then that 5th pick, Kellen Winslow Jr., who's a difference maker as a tight end guy who you could flank out and play wide receiver.
Of course, we'll get Mel's thoughts on this at halftime along with a mock draft, so make sure you stay tuned with us here as Cody Pickett's now in the ball game and throws it out to Michael Jenkins, the Ohio State wide receiver, a pickup of about 9 yards.
Everybody talked about Cody Pickett when we asked him, and he said that, you know, he's got good touch. The problem is he's got too much touch.
I think he's got too much load-up touch.
Yeah, and it does not, the ball does not come out of his hand. A lot of fluff, a lot of feather. There you see 2002, the great season. Probably, if you asked him again, he'd probably come out now if you're talking about draft status. This year, not a very good season. The touchdowns, the interceptions. He just doesn't, right now, the velocity doesn't impress the scouts. Maybe a chance today in this competition to show what he's got.
You know what? The NFL now has given the mid-level manager quarterbacks an opportunity.
Well, look at the Super Bowl right now. Guys have turned into great players.
Pickett now, the drop back, pump fakes left. It comes back to the right side. Finds Colbert, who gets down to about the 30-yard line, and a timeout's called with just under 10 seconds left on the clock. It's a pickup of 8. Kieran Fox, the outside linebacker out of Georgia Tech, is there on the stop.
He looks and pump fakes to the left, comes right back to hooked up on the right side to Kerry Colbert. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
That is. That we're calling using the whole field.
Of course, he's a USC receiver on the right side. So we figured that a USC guy would be there.
It's like a magnet. It's always open.
Give me
the
ball.
Trojans. That's right. This guy's pretty good, Mark.
Yeah, Nate Keating. I'll tell you what, the career scoring leader at Iowa. He's been kicking there since the year 2000. He's 20 of 21 this year at field goals as long as 55, and this will be from 47 yards.
This will land in the snow. He slipped.
And he slipped on what are perfect field conditions, and that's not even going to be close.
I promise you, this is going to be maybe a 4th, 3rd, 2nd round type of kicker because he can take it deep. He's a 55-yard field goal type of guy. If he doesn't slip, this ball will land in the stands. Little
kind of overstrides on that one, unfortunately.
He's a difference maker at that position, Mark.
He is. Our score at halftime, 21-7. Coming up on the Senior Bowl halftime reports, we're going to go behind the scenes with Phillip Rivers, and we'll look at the top players according to Mel Kiper. So stay with us here in Mobile, Alabama.
The South with a 14-point lead, courtesy primarily of Phillip Rivers, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns in just 1 quarter of work. Glad you're back with us here in Mobile, Alabama. If you happen to catch SportsCenter this morning, you saw a feature on Phillip Rivers focusing almost entirely on his unorthodox throwing motion. Well, his form, one of the many components of his game that was poked, prodded, and tested this week in Mobile.
Blue 88 said, hey, come on, quick, right.
These are the best players from around the country, and it's the most comprehensive and intense week they'll have up to this point of their college life.
Okay, Phil, you come over here, put your thumb up against the... That's it. Little finger on this line, and flatten it out. Flatten your point. Relax your hand a little bit. There you go.
11 1/4. That is the biggest I've ever measured.
That's good, right? Yeah, it's real good.
Most of the time here is trying to showcase your talents on the field. A couple of written tests we got to take care of today, so I'll be back in a minute.
Some questions are kind of off the wall, you know. Like I took the one test and it said, which one you'd rather be, a dog or a cat?
Part of it's intelligence-based, so we're trying to get an idea of information processing ability and speed. Some of it's personality-based, so trying to get an idea of what their kind of basic personality type is.
I enjoy playing a lot more than using a pencil, that's for sure.
Gary Anderson, LSU.
5-1-1-2. 5-1-1-2.
You got every scout and coach out there, and you're walking up on stage. It's kind of like you know a meat market. You know they're checking you out, and they want to see every little thing about you.
226. 226.
Your bag's right here. Meeting room to the left, right there.
All right, appreciate it.
All the senses in your body, the one that becomes most important to you in becoming a professional football player is your eyes. What you see to learn, What you witness on the practice field to learn, what you look at on the practice field so you can do it the right way. It is the single most important sense that you have that will enable you to become a successful professional athlete.
There's a lot of quarterbacks that have weird motions. The bottom line is to get it from here to there and how fast he gets it there and if it's accurate.
He's got a relatively quick release. Even though his release is somewhat unorthodox, it is quick and he's an accurate passer.
I know some guys, some teams are going to try to take him and change him, and I think that might hurt him. You know, take what he is and go with it. You know, he's a winner and he's a leader.
I'm going to be willing to do whatever it takes to keep my career going, and if that means tweak something here or there, I'll be open to do that.
I love watching those guys when they go to the scale with their shirts off, keeping those stomachs nice and tight. Earl Hodge, Mel Kiper Jr. join us. And Mel, if you're a GM, is Philip Rivers a guy you would take on your team?
I would. I'll tell you, I'm a big Philip Rivers supporter. I think you look at 72% completion percentage, 34 touchdown passes, only 7 interceptions. Philip Rivers does not make mistakes on the football field. Cerebral. I mentioned Bernie Kosar. I think that's a good comparison. I think when you look at the Miami Dolphins picking 20th, the third quarterback on that board could be a Miami Dolphin. It's Rivers, Lossman, and Shaw battling it out. Right now, Rivers may have a slight advantage over Lossman. The 20th pick, the Miami Dolphins, could be a quarterback. And Philip Rivers looks awful good as a potential first-round draft choice.
All right, and Merrill, tell us a little bit about what the NFL teams hope and expect to get out of this week in Mobile.
Well, you know, we focus a lot on the first round, but you know, there's so many other rounds. And when you think about building a franchise and building your team, the third round, the fourth round, the fifth, and sixth and seventh, all of those rounds become critical. And when players and coaches are here, you get to see a guy function as a player. You don't worry about the 40, you don't worry about all those other things. You get to see him as a football player. And being able to see a guy as a player is a lot different than watching him on tape. Tape helps you, but when you can actually see it, it really helps in your evaluation process. You have to be that good in the third and fourth, not just the first round.
They love to look under the hood at these guys, as they say. From the NFL to the NBA tomorrow on ABC Sports, you can see the West-leading Sacramento Kings and Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, and the rest of a very deep Dallas team taking on Sacramento, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific on ABC, home of the NBA Finals. And when we return, we take a look at Mel's big board. Picks 1 through 10. Who does San Diego take with their #1 overall pick? Philip Rivers led the South to 21 points to open up the game. The North climbing back into it, 21-7 at the break. Take a look at your top 5 picks in the NFL. San Diego #1. Interesting things about 2, 3, 4, and 5. All of those teams will be sporting new head coaches next season. Let the mock draft begin. Time to speculate. Mel Kiper Jr. rejoins us. We start at number 5, Joe Gibbs, Washington. What's in their future?
Exactly. Joe Gibbs. And what does he want, Rob? Usually a tight end. Go back to Clint Didier, the days coming out of Portland State. What he meant to the Washington Redskin offense. You imagine what Kellen Winslow Jr. can do for a coach like Joe Gibbs. So creative in the utilization of a tight end H-back. Robert Gallery talked about the Giants desperately needing a left tackle who can pass protect for Kerry Collins. Robert Gallery, a tremendous player. Ben Roethlisberger, big, and I'll tell you what, will surprise you. The mobility he has for a 245-pounder, it looked good in an Arizona Cardinal uniform. Larry Fitzgerald said could be the #1 player on a lot of team scores. Oakland needs help at that spot opposite Jerry Porter and Eli Manning. San Diego has a debate. They have Drew Brees. They have an awful lot of needs, but there's Eli Manning sitting there if, in fact, the Chargers want to go that direction. Look at 6 through 10, and you're going to see some different names as well popping up, but I'll tell you what, the defensive back, Sean Taylor, I think the best defensive player in the draft. He brings to the safety spot the same mentality Ray Lewis brings to the middle linebacker spot. Atlanta needs a defensive tackle, quick, explosive guy like Harris. Cleveland, Chris Campbell, a little bit of a roll of the dice out early, still needs some technique work and more experience, but he's a talent. Roy Williams at Jacksonville, I disagree with the pony up there, Craig James. If he's there at 9, he's a steal. And Kenichi Udeze, the perfect fit at defensive end for the Houston Texans and that 3-4 defense.
Lord knows they need some help on the defensive side, second to last in defense. Your thoughts,
Well, you
Mel?
know, when I look at San Diego, if they were a quarterback away, I'd say you take Eli Manning, but they are not a quarterback away. They're, quite honestly, a defense away. I think now you've got to hope that a team will trade for that, because if nobody's going to trade, then you're going to have to take probably Eli Manning. But when you look at San Diego, you've got to always consider salary cap issues. If you miss on your quarterback like they did a few years ago with Ryan Leaf, your franchise is now held hostage for years. You lose players, and you fall even further and further down. They cannot afford to do that. I say trade it, get picks, bring people in.
And we still have the Combine coming up in Indianapolis in a couple weeks as well. Coming up at 9 Eastern tonight, live coverage of X Games 8 continues with the women's snowboard, superpipe, and snowcross qualifying. The winner X Games 8 live from Aspen, Colorado tonight on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. First half thoughts and sights from the guys upstairs when we return to Mobile and the 55th annual Senior Bowl.
We got the ball. Let's go.
For over a half century, the best of the best and the greatest names in college and pro football have showcased their skills here at the Senior Bowl. Legendary greats and Hall of Famers have participated, as well as recent stars with bright futures like Pennington, Tomlinson, Carr, and Palmer. Today, the 2004 stars are on the field as the South leads 21-7 after the first half of play. Mark Malone, along with Sean Salisbury and Craig James, and certainly Philip Rivers, we said at the very top of the show here before we kicked off, had something to prove. He proved it in the first half.
Yeah, he did, and he's proved it in big games throughout his career. The thing I like is that they put him in position, throw the short route, accuracy. Throw the intermediate route, on time, accurate, move the pocket, get the ball out, even ran for 5 or 6 yards, and then the ability to have awareness when you break the pocket, and he threw the great deep pass to Henderson for the big play. So Philip Rivers, people, if they're going to judge where the ball comes out, well, he's been doing it against hard team competition since he's been playing. Why in the world would you have to change him now? If there's an MVP at halftime, right, Philip Rivers is it. He's made that impression throughout his career and has put a staple on the fact that he wants to be the third quarterback taken in this draft.
9 of 14 for 163 yards, and we saw Wilford make a couple of big catches, but also the kid out of LSU, Henderson, has been unbelievable.
You know, somebody has to catch those balls and
yes,
he's throwing out there, and the receivers here in this ball game, there's so many good ones out there. Henderson has really stepped up and shown the ability to catch the ball and the yards after the catch. Wilford had an excellent first half as well. I really want to watch the offensive line, because the offensive linemen have been doing a nice job in this ball game, and they've given Rivers and those guys a chance to throw the football, which was a question mark coming in.
And again, we've talked that the rules are really set up to throw the football, so we haven't seen as many big runs. Certainly, you look at Greg Jones, who had the touchdown run for the South in this football game early, has made a statement in sense in terms of a running back, but we saw him as a lead blocker, as a fullback. He's really doesn't look like he's suited for that.
You know where he needs to make a statement in this half is if he's the lead blocker on a kickoff return, he's got to go light somebody up.
Yeah, because Craig and I both watched him on a return, and he didn't hit anybody. And for a guy that's that big and that physical, when he's carrying the ball in the NFL, you don't get to touch it 70 times a game. So you got to find a way to do something else to make an impression. If you're going to get paid all that money at those factor backs, as Haji likes to call, you better do something more than just run the football.
So Nate Keating, the Iowa kicker, will kick it off here for the North squad, and deep is Shad Williams, the running back out of Alabama, and Greg Jones, the Florida State running back. They line up deep for the South team, who leads by 2 touchdowns here. Again, Keating had a chance for a field goal just before the half and slipped, one of about 49 yards his attempt, and he's got plenty of leg for that, guys. He was 20 of 21 on the season. He has a long of 55 yards. And we are about to get the second half underway. A driving kick to Williams at the goal line. Williams out to the 20-yard line. The tackle made by Ricardo Coakley, who has been all over the field from Tusculum College in Nashville, Tennessee.
People will question, a lot of times, well, from a small school, can you compete with the big timers? And that corner, Coakley's done a nice job of doing it in this game. And you know what, coaches, they want to see how you rise to the occasion against guys from the big-time schools.
And you know what? I think there's a school of thought that if you're at a small school, you've played more than likely 4 years, so you have more experience. So it's just a matter of tweaking the speed of the game.
Matt Schaub, second team All-ACC in the game at quarterback. A pickup of 2 yards on the carry by Moore. And again, as you take a look at Schaub, a big kid. We've got big quarterbacks here. 6'5", 244. He completed nearly 70% of his passes for almost 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns. Not a real great arm, though, guys, for a big quarterback.
No, he doesn't, and he doesn't have a powerful arm like you said, Mark, but what he does have is great intelligence, and he's been well coached by Al Groh. And remember, Bill Musgrave, who's now the offensive coordinator in Jacksonville, was his coach also, so he's got great training.
Known for taking care of the ball. Come out, throw the ball inside to Jericho Kochery, and it's low and incomplete.
And you know, yeah, he doesn't have the big, strong cannon arm, but there are a lot of quarterbacks who are successful without that. This is a game. This is a platform for him to go ahead and show what he can do. We've seen all the other quarterbacks. Now it's Schaub's turn.
That's exactly right. And Craig, you make a great point. Is that there's other things that go into it, and what you lack in a tremendously powerful arm. I haven't seen a guy that has to throw it 75 yards in a game ever. Have you?
No.
Where you got to crank back and throw it that far. But if you have good timing, it more than makes up for that explosive Brett Favre arm.
3rd down and 7, and Schaub slips and is smothered immediately by a host of North defenders led by Dewan Edwards, the Oregon State defensive tackle.
You know, Mark, you know, you say he's slow and all this stuff. This isn't his fault. I mean, up front they had a breakdown, a little cross and set up in the middle of the field, but you'll see how that the right guard
whiffs.
Yeah, just a whiff, and there's nothing you can do. I don't care who the quarterback is.
Stephen Peterman, the right guard out of LSU, an All-American and All-ACC, doesn't get the job done, and now the South will go ahead and punt it. Donnie Jones will punt it to Ricardo Coakley. Again, it hits a North player, and there's a scrum for the ball. The South recovers it. So a miscue on special teams now by the North squad, and Gus Scott, the safety out of Florida, makes a big play on special teams for the South.
There's Stuart Schweigert running down, Mark. He's not the return guy, as we saw Coakley back there, and you lose the ball. Now, it's either Schweigert not listening. Somebody's got to make a point and let him know, because his back's turned to the football, that it's a short punt, and like to call that to make sure you get away, get away, get away. And then he's standing right there, and it takes a south bounce, and they get the ball back.
What's the call that we always hear? Peter. Something you can hear that's loud and get out of the way, and Schweigert got the call late.
If we see an interception, we'll hear Oski.
Here's the reverse to Triandos Luke. And Luke is forced out of bounds at the 50-yard line by Travis LeBoy, the WAC All-Defensive Player of the Year out of Hawaii, and that'll be a loss of 2.
A little scrum with the QB.
Hey, LeBoy, we watched LeBoy out of Hawaii this week come flying down the line of scrimmage, loses contain, didn't play with a lot of discipline and backside containment. Merrill Hodge was all over him. I'd run the reverse on this guy. Hodge was like, this guy can't play. He'd be running reverses.
He played that reverse there, did he?
He was at home, Hodgie.
Merrill, what'd you think there of Hawaii 5-0? Hodgie must have his earpiece out. You know, we saw that on the first day of practice, Craig, but the second day was much more disciplined.
Yeah, I'm here.
And here we go. Schaub draws the defense off sides.
I got contact.
Great job with the cadence by Matt Schaub there.
All right, Merrill, have you got your earpiece in there, buddy?
Oh, my earpiece is in.
Your earpiece is in.
My earpiece is in.
5-yard penalty.
See, that's why you practice.
Well, we'd like your assessment of LeBoy there on the reverse.
Hey, obviously they addressed that, and he was perfect on that defense. I actually ran into his dad when I was working out today, and I know obviously you weren't there, Malone. But his dad came over and he said, "Now listen, you tell Travis he doesn't play hard, I'm going to spank him." And this man, remember the guy we saw walking down the street, like 6'3", about 300 pounds?
Yeah.
That's him. That's his dad. So I put my money on his dad. So I'm going to talk to Travis when he comes off.
What will you do hanging around the streets, Hodgie?
Well, let me tell you something. Phillips here jumps off sides again. And by the way, I don't do Pilates, which is why I didn't work out with Merrill today.
Dead ball. False start.
That Tybo video is crazy, isn't it?
5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Hey, by the looks of you, you don't do anything right now, big fella. Pilates or anything.
Hey, and you
don't start now.
Hey, Merrill, you heard him say a while ago there are a lot of big quarterbacks on the field tonight.
Yeah.
There are two big quarterbacks in this booth.
Yeah, you can use huge up there now.
I'm telling you.
In the community.
Merrill Hodge and Rob Stone down on the field helping us out here on the 55th
You played
annual
the I
Senior
don't
Bowl.
do Pilates card on it.
Mel Kiper Jr. is with us, and we'll get to him here shortly as well. 2nd down and 12 for the South squad. Weldon Moore slips a couple of tackles and crawls out past the 45-yard line, a pickup of 5. Nico Kudavitas from Purdue, the outside linebacker, is there first to make the stop.
How am I supposed to concentrate on football with you two talking Taibo and Pilates? And
I'll bring it back to you. Weldon Moore, the conversation this week's been, can he handle carrying the ball 20, 25 carries in a football game? You know what? And you know, he's got a little intensity about him. But the fact that Moore has got great vision, you've seen him now 2 or 3 times. But throughout his career, 909 carries.
Most of any back in this bowl, in this Senior Bowl. So that ought to talk to the versatility and the fact that he can handle some punishment.
Conference USA all-time rusher and all-time all-purpose yards leader, as Henderson cannot pick up the low throw by Schaub, and that's going to bring up a 4th down. Ricardo Coakley again in on the play.
What you don't want to do as a quarterback, Schaub did it there, short arm. You get to the point where you want to be so cute and so precise, you start aiming the ball. Sit back and throw it. This isn't darts. You sit back and you fire it and throw it and do what got you to that 70% completion rate during the season or during your career. You got to just rip back and throw it and let it rip. Man.
This is his first series, really.
Yes, it is.
He's got to get a little rhythm.
No question about it. He's been standing around for 2.5 quarters. You're exactly right.
So Donnie Jones, the LSU punter, at the 40. Deep spiraling punt over the head of Michael Jenkins, and this has got a chance, but no, it just catches the end zone line, and that's going to bring the North squad out at the 20-yard line. A punt of 45 yards. Cody Pickett,
Sean,
the quarterback out of Washington, will be on the field when we come back.
I'm stretching.
10-12 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The South leading 21-7 in this football game. A beautiful night at Mobile, Alabama. The North squad takes over from the 20-yard line. 1st and 10. Pickett hands the ball off inside for a pickup of probably 2 yards on the play. Eric Pruitt was there on the tackle, and Rob Stone is standing by with Marty Schottenheimer. Rob?
Well, Coach, we talk a lot about what these college kids get out of this week. What do you get out of it as a head coach of an NFL team?
Well, I love an opportunity to work with these young men. They hang on every word that you say. They're anxious to, do it the right way, and we've gotten a real good effort out of them throughout the week.
What kind of guys have impressed you, maybe not so much on the practice field, but here on the game field today?
Well, I think as a whole, our people up front have done a pretty good job for us. We've been able to control their running game reasonably well. They've shown some ability to throw the ball effectively. We've got real good receivers on that North squad.
Phillip Rivers, grade him for me.
I think he's done a nice job. Taking care of the ball, put several scores on the board for us. And if you don't turn the ball over and you get touchdowns, that's a positive day's work.
Coach, thanks for your time.
And all right, Marty's offense, you better not turn the football over, because that's how you stay in the lineup when you're playing for Marty Schottenheimer. Marty Ball.
Jenkins caught the ball there to advance the chains for the North squad. Pickett goes back to work, going deep down the right sideline. Throws the ball just out of bounds, intended for Kerry Colbert. And speaking of Marty Schottenheimer, we mentioned the fact that this is the 4th time he and his staff have coached here, but he also was a player here back in 1965. How about that? Played in a game with other legendary greats like Joe Namath and Bullet Bob Hayes, and the game ended, by the way, guys, in a 7-7 tie. The kind of game Marty Schottenheimer likes.
Yeah, no doubt. Run it and play defense. But Marty will probably tell you he was only 8 years old when he played in the Senior Bowl, right?
And the way you say that, back in 1965. Of course, that face mask shows it.
2nd down and 10. Pickett. Johnny Moran, who is hit immediately by Nathan Vasher. A pickup of 6 on the play.
Marco, Johnny Morant, that's a big, you talk about big in this thing. I mean,
he's a big kid.
And been inconsistent in his career and a little inconsistent this week. But with a body like that, Craig and Mark, can can you get a guy to progress to the next plateau? Because millions would want a body like that with that opportunity as a wide receiver. Look how big he is. And you stood next to him, Mark, and thought he was enormous.
You know, I think he's certainly got the ability to play at the next level. Marvin Lewis thought perhaps he was a little bit too angular and upright. He's 6'4", but again, when you see players in this league like Randy Moss, having that kind of height is certainly an advantage.
It's become commonplace now.
It has. 3rd and 4. Ball thrown immediately to Newsom right at about the 45-yard line. Greg Brooks was there. It's a pickup of 5 and probably enough for a first down.
I think in watching Pickett throw the ball, he's much better in the intermediate zone than he is the deep ball. The deep ball is a moon ball. I mean, when he throws the shorter ball, he delivers it. Now, Newsom's got to come back to the football. Don't ever stand flat-footed.
That's exactly right. And you guys talked about the big ones. We got 6'1", 225 pounds. Josh Harris is the smallest quarterback in this game.
Pick it up in the pocket, throws it outside to his fullback. Thomas Tepe, who breaks a tackle and finally drug down near the 40-yard line. A pickup of 14. Derek Pope and Rod Davis, 2 linebackers combined to make the stop. Merrill Hodge, what about this factor back?
Well, you see what happens when a quarterback's smart, gets the ball to a factor back, makes somebody miss, you get a first down. South needs to do a little more of that, and the North.
In the East and the West.
And the Midwest, and the Southwest.
Wherever you be throwing the ball.
First down at 10. Pickett outside to Jenkins, who runs Vasher over down to about the 36-yard line. As we take a look at Mel's top 5 fullbacks, and this is a position that's kind of starting to go by the wayside of the National Football League. But you can see Thomas Tepe, who's here tonight from Minnesota, the 3rd-ranked fullback behind Carney, Wilson, number 1, Lasaka Polite, who pulled a hamstring and was here at the Senior Bowl, and Luke Lawton of McNeese State.
When you talk about Tepe, Marvin was talking about his toughness during the week. But also, when you get near the goal line, this is good short yardage back. 24 touchdowns in his career. The most underappreciated position in football is that fullback. He has to stick his nose in there every play without getting the credit for it.
And a great play defensively by Darnell Dockett, dragging Pickett down by his jersey from behind.
These 2 gentlemen right here can dominate the line of scrimmage, Mark and Craig, and they do. Dockett's, for a guy that weighs 300 pounds, to be able to beat you to the punch like that,
you
that's
can't block angles on them. They're so powerful. Right. If they're going to a gap and you're not having some kind of assistance, they're going to run right through you.
Guys, to 65 tackles for losses in his career, which is a lot
at Florida
for
State,
a defensive tackle. Yep,
Jacob Bell.
That's exactly right.
The Miami of Ohio offensive lineman responsible for cutoff and couldn't get there against Dockett. And we've got some confusion and a dead ball. And guys, they're calling for rain a little bit later here tonight. It's about the 3rd time we've seen a player slip. You wonder if it's starting to get a little slip down there.
Offside.
2 quarterbacks in the last 2
against
series.
The defense. Penalties 5 yards from the previous spot, remains 2nd down.
The Kading slipped on his heels.
Yes.
You don't do anything in football on your heels.
Right.
No. Well, kickers do sometimes.
Yeah, well, they're kickers.
That's why they slip. And then we saw Schaub and Pickett both getting out of the pocket, slipping down. They must be getting a tad moist out on the field, guys.
And they're changing their cadence out there, too. That defensive line's listening now.
Well, you know what? The offensive linemen say, dude, could you please do that? Because they're beating the crap out of me. Could you please change it up so we can get a few penalties?
3rd and 5. That defensive line will have their ears pinned back here. Pickett comes back and again throws the hitch out intended for Jenkins, but the ball is tipped by Chad Lavallee, the LSU defensive tackle.
And a difference maker. Craig, when you watch this, you always say if you can't get to the quarterback, then try to do something else. He's getting a little bit of double team inside. Hands up. He knows he's not getting there. Great job of just trying to finish the play. Make it difficult on a quarterback, because even at 6'4", when a guy jumps like that, you can't throw over him.
And I feel like when you look at Dockett and Lavallee inside, those 2 guys are playing with their eyes. You know what? They're not just bull rushers.
That's right.
Lavallee, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, as Pickett throws a dart outside to Michael Jenkins, who makes a terrific catch. It's a pickup of 13 and another first down.
When you run this route, you've got to stay disciplined and stay to the outside so that when you get back to the middle of the field, that you don't run into that safety or linebacker who's dropped into that zone.
And also come back and finish at that quarterback. And Jenkins started to do that. Good anticipation by Cody Pickett to get out of his hands. Jenkins turns, ball's on top of him, and he does a nice job of catching it with his hands.
Pickett grew up in the Idaho area. And he is level as he hands the ball off to the running back, Julius Jones. And if you wonder if Pickett is a tough guy or not, all you have to do is know that his dad is in the Rodeo Hall of Fame, a healer in a team calf roping competition, and he's grown up around horses. He's a tough kid.
Yeah, he was in a rodeo school himself.
Defense. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
And what's the name of the street that he lives on?
Well, you know, he lives in Idaho, which you're familiar with, Craig, and reading the bios, he lives on, believe it or not, Chicken Dinner Road.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Little bit of country in Mr. Cody Pickett from Caldwell, Idaho. Won 5 letters at the University of Washington. And again, finds Jenkins on the hitch, and he drags Vasher inside the 15-yard line for a pickup of 5 yards.
That short pass that Pickett throws is just a lot better than the ones when he's trying to throw the ball deep.
There you go. Didn't have a great senior year, guys.
No.
Had a real good junior year, but 4,400 plus yards, Pac-10 season record in 2002. And didn't get much better this year. But, you know, a lot of things go on, and there's a lot of reasons that happens. But he's doing a nice job tonight with his anticipation.
Put a lot of numbers up under Rick Neuheisel.
Yes,
of course, Neuheisel left, and a lot of controversy there at the university, and that might have affected him as well, as Julius Jones fakes out Bobby McCray and then is just smacked at about the 7-yard line, a pickup of 6. And Jones, a terrific runner, as Gus Scott is down on the field. He's the one that delivered the blow to Jones. And while Jones walks back to the huddle, they will tend to Gus Scott, and we'll step aside here and take a timeout. The South leads 21-7 with 2:36 remaining in the third. Welcome back to Ladd Peoples Stadium. 2:35 remaining in the third. The South leading 21-7, and you can see that the South squad now is kneeling around their teammate Gus Scott, who they are tending to, as we take a look at the play, guys.
Well, the running back Jones delivers the blow. There's a strike zone right before the contact's made, and he got into it and made the hit.
Have a listen.
It is a very, very violent sport, and you hate to see these things happen, but they happen. I mean, when you got guys with this kind of athletic ability that run that quickly and collide that violently, things like this unfortunately happen. We'll take another timeout. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, let's go, G. Scott.
Good news back here at the Senior Bowl. Gus Scott, who was knocked unconscious, gets up and leaves the field of his own accord with a smile on his face. He's done for the night, but it's good to see him walk off under his own power.
That was a vicious hit, guys.
It was a vicious hit. 2nd and 5 now from the 7-yard line for the North squad. Pickett looking outside and works it back inside to his tight end. And the ball was almost intercepted at that point, but it falls incomplete. Chris Cooley, the Utah State tight end, was there, and Greg Brooks was there to make the play.
And this is one of those throws where the chemistry, and you know, if you've been with a guy long enough, you know the zone, you know how he's going to slide, and they work together.
No doubt. And that end zone, guys, everything tightens down here, so the throw becomes so much more important with accuracy.
3rd and 5. They try to go up top to Jenkins, the big, tall, wide receiver. There's a wrestling match. It falls incomplete. Nathan Vasher, the Texas corner, is there to make the play.
And we've talked a lot about quarterbacks and wide receivers, but I want to show you Jacob Bell, Miami of Ohio. Here he is over on the right guard. He's going against Darnell Dockett, one of the best players in America. He doesn't give up. He stays close to him, Sean. I mean, he's in it. He's not intimidated.
And you know what's great about that, Craig? You talked about training at the quarterback position at Miami of Ohio. They like to throw it, so he understands pass protection.
Yeah. Nate Keating makes it from 25 yards out, and that draws the North a little bit closer. It's 21-10 right now. 2:04 remaining in the third. We're back right after this.
Atta baby, way to go. Good stuff. Hey, now, get your guys together over there.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Senior Bowl. Brought to you by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. And by Eclipse Gum. It's breath-defying.
South leading 21-10 with 2:04 remaining in the third. They score on a 25-yard field goal by Keating. Wraps up a 15-play drive that went 72 yards. Pickett was 7 of 10 in that drive for a 60 yards in passing. And Shad Williams from Alabama takes it from the 4. Oh, hit, falls off a tackle, and then drawn down at the 18-yard line. And LeBoy is there, as well as James Newsome. 1:54 remaining in the third. Matt Schaub ready to come in for the South. A lot of Buckeyes on that helmet, the helmet of Michael Jenkins, the Ohio State wide receiver. His team trails by 11 with 1:53 now remaining in the third, and the South comes out throwing. Devery Henderson to the 26-yard line. The Rich Gardner makes a play and pickup of about 7 yards. North said they want a fumble, and the officials say it's not going to happen. Let's listen to Marty Schottenheimer after that last field goal.
Baby, way to go. Good stuff. Hey, now, get your guys together over there. We got to see the ball. We've had 2 offside penalties now. I don't know whether they got somebody moving or something on the line, but it looks like the quarterback is still. So get your guys. We got to keep our eyes on the ball, all right? We got to stay onside.
The old teacher, Marty Schottenheimer. Doesn't matter what level you coach. It's all about teaching.
And it doesn't matter where he coaches. That's what he wants to do, Mark. He's a great teacher.
Ball outside to Wilford from Schaub, and Wilford finally gets out of bounds near the 40-yard line. 2 of the top teams in the Big East meet tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Number 16 Syracuse will face number 9 Pittsburgh. The Panthers, you might remember, lost their first game of the season Monday night against the Huskies. NCAA basketball on ESPN2. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com.
I think old Carmelo Anthony is doing pretty good in the NBA right now, don't you guys?
It is. It's amazing what Boeheim can do, losing the play, a player the stature of Carmelo Anthony. They continue to win a lot of basketball games. Little pitch outside to Cedric Cobbs, and he slips down at about the 35-yard line. Let's check in with Rob Stone. Rob?
An update on Gus Scott, the DB from University of Florida playing for the South. He was taken to the team's locker room. Preliminary indications are it is a concussion. They are going to take him to the hospital, though, for further evaluation.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. And it's good news again. Gus got up on his own power and walked off the field, had a smile on his face. And obviously these guys are here showcasing their abilities for the next level and for their profession. So certainly the coaching staff and the medical staff here at the Senior Bowl do not want to take any chances. Well, that's going to end the third period here in Mobile, Alabama. We'll take a break. The South leads 21-10. We're back with more action right after this. This is not only a great game for seniors, but a great game for the community of Mobile. A lot of autographs for that young fellow there as we begin the fourth quarter. South leading 21-10. The ball thrown to Wilford, who makes a great catch and dropped at the 45-yard line.
That man's made an impression this week, and it's continued in this game, hasn't he?
Pickup of 10. Joey Thomas makes the play, and we take another look at it.
Why don't we just come back here, a little 3-step. I'm going to paw it right out of midair, look the ball in. That's why I caught it. He watched the ball in, even though he caught it with one hand, watched it and then brought it with 2.
Of course,
nice concentration by Wilford.
He could have not watched the ball and not caught it.
But he watched it and,
kind of wherever you go, there you are.
Caught it, that's right. And why are you there? Because you're there.
7 catches for 73 yards. A big night for Ernest Wilford. Shot. Back inside, almost picked off by Courtney Watson, the Notre Dame middle linebacker. We asked you earlier to log on to ESPN.com and vote on our poll. And our poll question asks, who should be the #1 pick in the 2004 NFL Draft? And, of course, Mel Kiper Jr. said it should be Eli Manning. Merrill Hodge said it can't be a quarterback. Well, you have spoken. Over 121,000 people logging on. 53% saying Eli Manning is the proper choice, and I would agree.
And those guys right there, that's exactly how Mel has the first 5 picks slated, and that's how they finished up. Mel knows what he's talking about, guys.
How could so many people be against Merrill Hodge? I don't. Good gosh.
Donnie Jones, a high spiraling kick. Jenkins is hammered at about the 16-yard line. A punt of 38 yards. Darrell Smith levels the big wide receiver of Ohio State. The South leads 21-10, 13:41 remaining here in the fourth quarter. They love their college football in the South here in Mobile, Alabama, the 55th annual Senior Bowl, as the South leads 21-10 with just over 13 minutes to play in this football game. 1st and 10 for the North. John Navarre is back in at quarterback, and he comes out and works to the big wide receiver Moran, who drops the quick out route.
Talked about that inconsistency with him, Mark. And there's a sign of it. Got to catch those.
Bruce Thornton, the corner out of Georgia, was there for the coverage. And Thornton, a kid who played running back, by the way, in high school, guys. He rushed for over 4,500 yards in 3 years in high school.
And they said, the South coaches said that Thornton has had a wonderful week and been a good player this week.
Barr shoots the big gun back out again to Moran, who catches the ball this time out to the 35-yard line. That'll move the chains. Kewan Ratliff was in coverage, but it's a 19-yard pickup.
And he's lucky that he got a chance to come back and redeem himself after the drop. And
ball out right there. See it, Craig? Ball's out now.
You got to get rid of the football.
Yep.
2.9 or less, right?
Yeah, if you can get to 3.2, that's you got all the time in the world.
Yeah. On that skinny post, it's got to come out a lot earlier, and he's got the kind of arm to throw that route as he goes deep again to Moran. Moran against Ratliff, and the ball severely underthrown. Moran tried to come back, but couldn't come back quickly enough. And Ratliff, not a big guy, but great cover man.
Nice job eyeballing the quarterback. Now, right there, Mark, the catch-up speed to get him off, and he's going to cut him off right there and make him come back under, but the ball is severely underthrown. But a nice job by Ratliff to not allow Morant to run by him and step on him.
He reads routes well.
He does.
You can tell that he's looking at the drop of the quarterback, and he knows that after the 5, he's going deep.
Sees it every day in practice at Florida.
2nd down now and 10. Navarre works inside to the tight end Cooley. Cooley is hammered with about 7 defenders, a pickup of 7 yards on the play. And Chris Cooley, one of 8 semifinalists for the John Mackey Award. By the way, guys, this guy averaged 6.2 receptions per game, all Sun Belt. He was a freshman defensive end and made the transition.
And a good route runner, knows when to sit it down. And nice job by Navarre, who started outside in. Cooley sits down in the hole. Navarre delivers the football. And
I want to find the tight ends that are route runners, guys who've gone out wide and played. They're not all just hunkered down, big men run the football.
And I think you need a guy that can both block and get down and affect safeties in the seam, certainly in the passing game, certainly at the NFL level. Navarre has that one blocked down. As we're talking tight ends, here's Mel's top 5. Of course, Kellen Winslow Jr. at the top of that list. Ben Troop, who had a finger injury, was supposed to be here. He did not make it. Ben Watson, a guy that has a great body. And, of course, Chris Cooley has made an impression here in Mobile as well.
Everybody knows about Winslow, Mark, on the guy who, like you said, Troop, who couldn't make it. What a good football player he is. And Craig, I know you've covered him and seen him down there in Florida.
He can play.
He can run and he can get down the middle of the field.
Like you said, you know, you want to have a guy that you know understands something, that has a good base.
Nathan Basher deep now for the South. Take the punt from the 14. Teddy Lehman, the defensive middle linebacker, makes the play. When we come back, we'll find out who's impressed Mel Kiper Jr. the most. Stay with us. South leading by 11 with 10:42 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Philip Rivers has been the most valuable player certainly so far in this game, and he's back in the lineup. 9 of 14, $163 and 2 touchdowns in the first half. Play action. Rivers decides to just keep it and gets out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Mel Kiper Jr. on who's impressed him the most so far. Mel?
I'll tell you what, Mark, it goes without saying, Philip Rivers had a great football game. We know he's 4-0 in bowls, make the Senior Bowl 5-0. Philip Rivers done a heck of a job. They get wide receiver Ernest Wilford's made some difficult catches. I like the yards after the catch, the way he's stiff-arming and running hard in the open field. Ernest Wilford's done a heck of a job as well. And on the defensive side, we talked about Darnell Dockett in the open, the great week he had. He's been able to get into the backfield and disrupt things. Has had a sack and has had a hurry. And I think a wide receiver, Devery Henderson, nice start. He had 2 drops on some low balls, but overall, good week and a solid performance today, despite the 2 drops, which were on tough throws that were low, about knee level.
All right, Mel, I don't think you'd give us, we'd give you any argument up here. Those guys have certainly stood out as Philip Rivers now back under center. Pickup of 6 yards on the scramble and throws it back out to his familiar wide receiver, Jericho Conchery. You mentioned Darnell Dockett. Rob Stone is with the defensive tackle from Florida State.
Darnell, tell me, what's the most valuable thing you've taken away from this week?
Just basically hard work, you know, communicating with the coaches, you know, trying to understand what they're telling you to do out here. And I think that's the most thing I'm really trying to understand the most is that.
Things have changed, you know. In the past, you graduate from school or you get out your senior year and you just get ready for the draft on your own. Different deal now. Where are you off to after this game and your preparation for the draft and the combine?
Well, you know, I'm enjoying myself tonight. Hopefully we can hold on to this win and, you know, get back to work Monday. Take Sunday off and get back to work Monday and get ready to start training.
But you're heading up to Atlanta?
Yes, of course, man. Just go up there, man. Just give it all I got. Get ready for the combine.
And who are you working with?
Chip Smith at Competitive Air Sports.
A big play, a strike to Justin Jenkins, the wide receiver out of Mississippi State. And boys, I'll tell you what, Phillip Rivers had some smoke on that ball.
Man, you know what? I think Jenkins forgot that there's another side of the football field, but I want you to notice here a couple of things here. Watch where the ball's thrown, and then right in here, look at this, 3 guys on the ground trying to tackle feet.
And he runs right through it. And what I like about the throw is, remember, the 49ers used to get great yards after the catch with Taylor, and when Montana threw it, Taylor and Rice, because they put it on the front shoulder, Mark.
Right.
We see that happen. Ball on the back shoulder, that's a tackle and down. Ball on the front shoulder, a receiver's got the wherewithal to run through it. Nice job to elude those 3 tacklers and get another big gain for Phil Rivers.
30 yards on the pickup. Will Allen was the defensive back in question in coverage as Moore is hammered at the line of scrimmage by Darrell Campbell, the defensive tackle out of Notre Dame, who has shown well here. It's a loss of 1 yard on the play. Campbell, a guy who's got great inside pass rush ability. He will definitely play defensive tackle in the NFL. Played some end at Notre Dame as well, but certainly got great penetration there.
Don't you get the feeling watching Phillip Rivers in the offense that if he really wanted to, they could just step back and throw the football 2 or 3 times in a row and be down the field?
You know, we talked to Marty this week. Marty said, you know, that, hey, the rules are set up. We might throw the ball 70 times. Now, they haven't thrown it 70 times, but they certainly have put it in the air today. Play action. Rivers looking deep. He's got Henderson and just overthrows him by about a stride. Gardner, the corner from Penn State, was in coverage along with Everidge from Oklahoma, but the throw just overthrown.
You know what, Don? If he throws that with a tad more air, Henderson walks through with the touchdown. That ball came out, but I like the velocity I saw. He flat out gunned it. So that was one of those, I missed it, but all you guys watching, if you got a question on how I could throw it, I could throw it. That was a 52, 53-yard shot on a line. If he wanted the touchdown, though, Craig, a little more air, and he's got it. But impressive miss.
You can't coach and go get a guy to throw a 55-yard rope.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Nice job by him. He's got some gaudy numbers tonight, Mark.
They call Henderson Boo Boo. He's one of the speedsters, perhaps the fastest man on the South squad, and showed his Jets there. 3rd down and 11. Thrown behind his intended receiver, Shad Williams. He makes the catch, but it's going to be short of the 1st down.
That's exactly what we're talking about. You saw the slant, the couple plays before for the 30-yard gain. That ball's thrown behind on the angle route to the back. The back falls down a yard short. If that ball hits him on the front shoulder, he walks out the backside and gains another 10 yards.
Another thing I like about Rivers is the fact that at NC State, T.A. McClendon, who is a tremendous football player, he can catch the ball. They throw the ball a lot to the back.
That's exactly right.
And he's not afraid. He's looking for that check.
Well, in a league when you got a guy like LaDainian Thompson who catches 100+ balls, they are going to be a part.
Oh, you're saying he's going to the Chargers now then?
Oh, no, I just came out of my mouth wrong. My bad.
Rivers, the #1 quarterback efficiency rating in the country, 170.5. Works outside to his tight end, Ben Watson, and that'll be enough for a 1st down on 4th and 2, a pickup of 8 yards.
You talk about that release. Have a look at how he almost stands up on his toes to get the ball to the flat. That was a nice job by Phil Rivers.
Watch
you and I both jumped out.
Right in here. See here, he's got to get a little bit of a trajectory. I can't draw the arc in this telestrator here, but you got to get just a little bit of a touch over there so that he can get it beyond that end.
And I like the timing. He threw it right when the 2 ships were crossing in the night, and out in front allows Ben Watson to turn it up the field. Very nice job. And Ben Watson's impressed at tight end this week.
Shakespeare here. He's 2 ships crossing in the night.
Watson,
it's as close to Shakespeare as I get, dog.
Watson, a transfer from Duke, has impressed everybody. They say he needs to work on his receiving skills, but they look good there as Rivers avoids the rush and then gets rid of the football. Watson again, the intended wide receiver. ESPN's live coverage of X Games 8 continues at 9 o'clock Eastern Time with the women's snowboard super pipe and the snowcross qualifying. Winter X Games 8 live from Aspen, Colorado on ESPN. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com.
See, if I'm grading quarterbacks there on that one, if I'm grading quarterbacks on that one, that's a plus because he steps up in the pocket and it's nice. He graduated from the X Games.
Flew him out from Aspen, I think.
That's Merrill. Merrill's gone to the stands.
But Rivers, that's a plus because he throws it away and doesn't take a sack.
9th play of the drive, and they hand the ball off to Greg Jones, who was running over the entire North defense and drags him down to the 4-yard line.
Greg Jones just made himself an extra $500,000 in the draft.
Oh, you know what, though? He can't catch the football.
There you go.
I wouldn't take that young man. He can't catch it. Look at the power here, though. Watch how he has the shiftiness to get back to the inside and the strike zone. A strike zone means that I'm going to hit you before you hit me.
There's your factor, Merrill.
About time. The most exciting play all day. Did you hear the fans erupt? That's what people come to see. A factor back. Same foot, same shoulder, blowing through people.
Jones 40 yards on 4 carries tonight after that 22-yard run. And he is explosive.
One thing he has done tonight, though, Sean, he has said, I don't want to block. I'm not. Give me the football, Mark, and I'll go do something for you.
And we mentioned the fact he had a knee ligament tear in 2002. He wasn't really quite the same runner, but he has shown a burst here as he jumps out of a tackle and hauls the defense into the end zone. Touchdown, South.
If his knee's bothering him, everybody needs a knee to bother him. There's a little shiftiness and toughness there.
AJ's dreaming.
What? Who's dreaming? AJ?
AJ's dreaming.
Who's dreaming? That must be somebody with about.
I'll tell you what he's saying.
Could be AJ Smith, the Jay's manager for San Diego.
That's exactly what he's talking about. The Chargers, the first pick, AJ's dreaming.
When we sent you in there to run the belly, it was like, oh, why do I got to go in there? We're going to give you the ball.
Oh, you hear Marty Schottenheimer right there talking about the attitude of Greg Jones, which to an extent has been in question. And just again, here's today's Aflac trivia question. How many #1 overall NFL draft picks have played in the Senior Bowl? Stay with us. We'll have the answer when we come back.
Good stuff by Schottenheimer.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2004 Senior Bowl. Brought to you by Monster. Will today be the day they say you're hired? Monster. Today's the day. And by Mitsubishi Motors, makers of the all-new 04 Galant. Wake up and drive.
Mardi Gras around the corner. The South leading 28-10, but lots of beads in the stands as Jones takes it from the 10-yard line and hauled down at the 25. And let's take another look at that touchdown because Greg Jones has been impressive. 2 TDs on the day.
He has power, but here's what I like. We know he's got power. You think he can't put a shift? How's that for the okey doke right there to get in the end zone and leave Everidge, as you see the frustrated Everidge, wondering how he missed that. Great shifty run by.
You know what Everidge was thinking? He was thinking, oh,
I'm going to run over me.
He's out here.
That's exactly right.
And you don't expect to see somebody move their feet that's that big.
Marty made a good point, though, man. When we put you in a game, you run out there and do it. We're putting you in there to give you the football.
And it doesn't matter if we're going to give you the ball or not. Get in there and play hard.
That's exactly right.
Josh Harris back in the game out of Bowling Green at quarterback. Comes out and throws the ball in the flat to Maurice Brown, who's hit immediately. We talked about Marty Schottenheimer's comments to the young running back. Let's take a listen.
He's going to give you the ball. Great job. You just got to understand in our league, there's a lot of different opportunities, and you want to take every one that you get a chance to, and you got to seize it, and that's what you've done today.
So some kind words for the young running back by head coach Marty Schottenheimer.
That's why Schottenheimer's so dadgum good. You know.
Yes, he is. Well, the good ones will get on your behind and also praise you when you need to be praised. Harris looking deep, intended for Colbert, and intercepted by Bruce Thornton, the Georgia corner.
Yeah. He's been good all week. And I'll tell you, we talk about all the good that Kerry Colbert's been, guys. The wide receiver had a good week, a wonderful season at Southern Cal. This wasn't very good on his part.
Well, and he didn't go get the ball.
That's exactly right. Here at the top of the point, you got to come back and be a defensive back. You got to be a DB. He's not a DB. Doesn't go up and get it, but Thornton does.
How about our man up here? He's pushing this red stop button.
I'm trying to get it to stop, and it won't stop.
You've broken something that's broken.
I was trying to stop it right when they were going to go up and get it.
You can't break it any more than it's broken.
Okay, but you guys get the point. You couldn't go up and get it.
I stopped it in my mind.
But Sean, you and I, having played quarterback in the league, know there are times we're going to throw the ball up, and you have to depend on your wide receiver if it's a bad throw to make sure that it's never an interception.
Put that volleyball it into the ground, Mark. You're exactly right.
J.P. Lossman in the game, and he hands off to Moore, who cuts it all the way back and finally forced out of bounds by Everidge at the 45-yard line. 13 yards on the carry, and we spoke a little bit about Mewelde Moore and what a great talent he is. He basically rewrote the record books at Tulane, the Conference USA rusher all-time and all-purpose yards holder. Second player in NCAA history with 4,000 yards rushing and over 2,000 receiving yards.
That's what we're looking for in the NFL now, Craig. Don't you agree? A guy who can do both, that I can get him out of the backfield and he can make a play for me, or he can carry it 22 times in a game. Well, I need that.
I've been impressed tonight with the fact that he has good vision in a game like this, and he has some breakaway. You know, so I like that part of it.
Little home run speed, huh?
Yeah.
9 carries for 41 yards. I think the question mark is whether or not he can carry the ball 25 or 30 times. Can he hold up? He's not particularly big at 6'1", just 210. Brandon Johnson, the big fullback out of Auburn, a local favorite, picks up 3 yards off the right side. As time winds down here as we get close to the final minute of the fourth quarter.
A lot of credit needs to go to both offensive lines, guys. Aside from a couple slips and maybe a couple hits, these quarterbacks tonight, and I know there's no blitzing, but you still got to you pony up and play and grit your teeth and make things happen. And these guys up front have done a good job of it.
Should mention this is the 10th straight sellout here at the Senior Bowl. The attendance tonight, 40,646. As these people come out to watch the nation's best college football seniors compete one last time before they make their way to the NFL.
Blue 80.
Second down and 7.
Blue 80.
Lossman, confusion in the backfield, tucks it. And JP pops the football up. And you heard the
that was
sounded like it hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, that right there was a little hip pointer saying, hey, get down, quarterback.
Tim Anderson, the Ohio State defensive tackle, was one of the first to get there. So Philip Rivers, clearly the most valuable player of all the players here at the 55th Annual Senior Bowl, makes his way onto the field as time runs out here at Lad Peoples Stadium.
It's fifth MVP, Mark, in bowl games.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Marty Schottenheimer, Marvin Lewis, who, by the way, grew up in the same town in Western Pennsylvania, McDonald, right outside of Pittsburgh. Enjoy a moment together as they go back now and get ready for free agency in the NFL and start working on this NFL draft that will be upcoming. The South wins 28-10, the final score. We're back, however, to wrap things up and get some final thoughts from our analysts right after this. Welcome back to Mobile, Alabama. The Senior Bowl, the 55th annual, has wrapped up. The South winning 28-10. And we asked earlier in our Aflac trivia question, how many #1 overall NFL draft picks have played in the Senior Bowl? The answer is 12. And, of course, the most recent, the 2003 quarterback from USC, Carson Palmer, who ended up playing for Marvin Lewis in the Cincinnati Bengals. Mark Malone, along with Sean Salisbury and Craig James, glad you could stay with us. And, guys, a lot more scoring in this game than a year ago, and really that all starts with a quarterback. Philip Rivers was just, I think, stunning tonight.
And, Mark, we praised him, but he earned every bit of it because he did every phase of this thing right, Craig. Threw it short, threw it long, threw it accurate, made every throw possible that the scouts and people are looking for, and did it as he's done in every big game. This is the 5th time now in bowl games he was an MVP, and that's called playing on a big stage. There you see the awareness coming out there underneath, dumping the ball off, the deep ball, getting it out on time with a pass rush, putting it right on the money to Henderson. A nice job by Phil Rivers tonight, guys. And I think that he has raised his stock again and now might be that 3rd quarterback taken. And who knows, it could be in the 1st round.
Still a lot of scrutiny, certainly, of Philip Rivers over the next month or so. Craig James, obviously, we're going to get your thoughts in a moment about this game. But first, let's take it down to Rob Stone, who's with Mr. Rivers.
Well, Philip, your first quote-unquote NFL-type week. Things you maybe still need to work on.
Oh, yeah, you can never you're never going to be perfect in your game, and I think any player would tell you that. I'm just going to continue to work and get better. I can take a lot with me from what I learned this week of what they expect, and just keep doing what I've been doing in the weight room, and just keep doing all I can do to be a better player.
What did you show NFL scouts and management tonight?
Well, I just think that, you know, I've had so much experience in games. I played in 51 straight games at NC State, so I know how to manage a game and kind of get guys rolling and try to do all I can do to help them win. And, you know, I just love to play the game, and I think that with experience and the know-how, I can be a good player in the future.
Congratulations. Enjoy that draft coming up in April.
All right, thank you.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. And again, congratulations to Philip Rivers, a tremendous game. Meanwhile, Craig, this is not a game that's set up for running backs, but yet one kind of stood out in your mind.
It really did. And you know what Philip Rivers just said there is that he loves to play the game, and he showed that today. And Greg Jones, I think from Florida State, needs to take that away from Marty Schottenheimer, the conversation they had, the shiftiness, the power, the running behind the shoulder pads. I early in the year thought that he was a power guy, but I think he's proven over the last several weeks now, particularly tonight, that he has the ability to shift and bounce, which really puts guys like Everidge at defense at a misadvantage there, because they've got to deal with his shiftiness and the fact that he can put that wood to you. Now, Greg, leave this game here and go into the career and say, hey, I'm going to play hard regardless of what happens.
He's going to have to play on special teams early on, more than likely,
and
too.
take that attitude to trying to catch the ball. It's one thing he struggled doing, certainly here at the Senior Bowl during the practice week. Merrill Hodge is with the big running back. Merrill?
That's right. I'm standing here with Greg Jones. Now, Greg, you had an impressive run there late in the game. You played fullback and tailback. I know you prefer to play tailback. You got opportunities to run the ball. I'm sure that you proved that you can run the football. Was that your bottom line today?
Yes, sir. Just come out here. Just to prove everybody that my knee is fine, and you know, I'm getting back to the old Greg Jones.
You know, I noticed down there on your final run how quick you got in and out of a break. I mean, you're a big, strong back, but you have good feet as well.
Yes, sir. You know, coming from Florida State, you know, we work on a lot of quickness. So, you know, well, I'm from there, so I got there.
The overall experience, a good one for you?
Yes, sir. It's been a fun experience. Just being around with the guys, cracking jokes, and you know, being around the fellas. You know, it's a great experience.
Great job. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Merrill, thank you very much, and our congratulations goes out to Greg Jones. A great day, certainly for him here at the Senior Bowl. 2 touchdowns on the night for his squad. Meanwhile, what would the Senior Bowl be without the thoughts of Mel Kiper Jr.? Is there anybody out there that knows any more about college football players and where they might go in the National Football League draft? Mel?
Mark, I appreciate it, guys. You did a heck of a job up there in the booth. I think you look at this game, skill position talent. We talked about the 3 quarterbacks on the South. I think they accounted themselves fairly well. Matt Schaub had his share of struggles, but hey, the timing's going to be off when you have a new set of receivers. But Philip Rivers came to the forefront. J.P. Lossman certainly held his own, but Rivers was one of the stars of the game. The wide receivers in general did a heck of a job. Devery Henderson had that fast start. Ernest Wilford was steady throughout that football game and did a heck of a job. And I think Ben Watson, after a nice week, couple catches, one of those on 4th down. Lineman, defensive lineman, Lavallee did a good job anticipating some throws, getting his hands up. Darnell Dockett was explosive all week, tough to block, and that was the same for the most part today. So overall, the skill position talent that we expected to step forward, Mark, did today here in Mobile.
All right, Mel, and again, this is just the beginning of many things to come for these seniors and some of the juniors that were not here to play as well, as we continue to make our way towards the National Football League draft. The combines are coming up. What are you guys' final thoughts?
I think these guys really need to be committed and focused on what they've got to get done, and that is to get stronger and faster. There is no off season for any of these players on this field, because now is the time to impress themselves and the coaches.
Well, you know, it's also easy to say, oh, hey, played good out here. I could take a relax for the next couple weeks. It's much tougher to gain and much easier to lose your stuff. You got to stay focused, and then once you impress them, go to the combine. But the truth is, guys, for me, if you're a football player and it shows up on tape, then you're a football player, and that's what we saw tonight.
Well, it does, and there were some great ones here that weren't here. Eli Manning, certainly one of those guys who chose to work out and get ready for the combine. I think everybody believes he'll be the #1 overall draft, but still some work left to do for him.
And you know what? There is work for him, but you know, I heard the word used, might be the #3 quarterback taken, Philip Rivers. I think Philip Rivers clearly is the #3 guy. Ben Roethlisberger's a heck of a player. I think there are 3 premier quarterbacks coming out in this draft, and I think Rivers is that 3rd guy.
And the point you made, though, he manages games.
He certainly does. Our final score, 28-10, the South wins over the North. Coming up next, it's Ultimate X, the movie. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Craig James, Sean Salisbury, Mel Kiper, Merrill Hodge, Rob Stone, and the entire ESPN studio crew that helped us put this program on, I'm Mark Malone. Here's the Ultimate X movie coming your way here on the Worldwide Leaders. So long, everybody, from Mobile.